Hello, Internet. Welcome to another session of Return to the Dales.
Hi everyone, great to have you along. And here we are, finally coming into Rabidia, into the rabbit barony that is the inheritance of our own long ears. Um, we don't know what we're going to do after we get here. We don't have any major plans for the future. That's probably an incorrect statement to make. We are taking an army north, so that's a pretty major plan, and it's in the future. What I said was incorrect. But the pace at which we do it is still in our hands. We still have time on our hands. Um, uh, Destiny is before us. We're able to choose the path that we want to take. We're not responding to the world anymore. The world is responding to us. Okay, so Rabidia. Finnick Longears, you inherited this estate and the title that goes with it quite unexpectedly. A lawyer found you on the side of the road and bequeathed you this item, this prestigious title and land. It's been a long time coming, but you haven't quite made it here yet. But now, at last, you're coming into lands that you own, and you're not exactly sure where your border is, but you get the feeling that you've crossed over it. And this fertile farming country, which sits at the edge of a rocky badlands on one side, and a wide no man's land of plains to the east. Um, is there anything that you do, or is there any way you feel having come into your territory?
Guess excited to see could have been the family legacy of not being from the Fae, the family who left the Fae. See what they were like up to.
Excellent. Yeah. Um, all right. Well, that excitement may be tinged with trepidation when you see that although this area is quite populated, in a way it's been depopulated. You come to areas where there are farms and homesteads and ranches that aren't productive. The fences have been damaged and beyond repair. The herds have been shuffled out. The people have been taken off their properties, um, and you start going through sectors of land that are unoccupied.
Strange. It is a bit middle of nowhere. I mean, maybe people were sick of living here.
Possible.
Tis a frontier realm. It would seem like your lands need a lot of work.
Yeah, it looks like the last ruler wasn't quite that good. It's a shame they're getting another subpar leader.
So we've left the road, and we find ourselves now trailing along uh, in towards Mount Rosrana, the largest of the hills out here in the savage um, realm called the Stonelands, overrun with orcs. Um, and as we are coming up towards what seems to be a settlement, maybe we're 20 miles away or something. We can maybe 10 miles away. We can see it in the distance anyway. The the small settlement that must be your birthright or your inheritance, more accurately. Um, the more and more abandoned farms, more and more destroyed ranches and homesteads, and then an outrider is coming towards us. A lone, bareback rider with no shirt, a bearded fellow, quite muscular, and he is riding out towards us, galloping. Um, Yeah, galloping straight for us. It'll take a while before he gets here, but he is coming right at us.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Is he bearing any identifying marks?
Make a perception check.
Attempt to do so. Perception. I actually forgot I'm not proficient in perception.
Sure, and the sun glints in your eyes. And the man has a youthful vigor, but a full beard. You can't tell if he's got cloth or tattoo at this distance.
Guess we just wait for him to get to us. Well, I mean, keep going till we meet.
Sure. From a few hundred feet away, 200, 300 or so, this fellow who is evidently not as old as he looks. He got a massive beard, but still just a young fella. Never put a razor to his face. His tattoos are prevalent across most of his body, thick and probably painful. And he calls out, "Trespassers! Be gone, lest you face the wrath of King Hrothgar!"
Brow furrows, hearing that name.
King who?
Your barony's been invaded.
Yeah, the King Hrothgar is the leader of the barbarians that have been ravaging this area of Cormia. It would seem that your lands have fallen prey to them.
Probably why no one's here.
Indeed. Well, this fellow would know who we are. I say we play along, let him get closer, and then we ask him a couple of questions of our own.
"Be gone, trespassers! You are not welcome in these lands."
And whose lands are they exactly?
They are the lands of the, I don't know what they're called. They're rabbit people. But they are vassals of King Hrothgar.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, Ganilza?
Uh,
Galicia?
um,
Got it spelt, but I can't pronounce it because I'm like a monkey
Galicia.
sometimes. Galicia.
Galicia.
it doesn't matter. Pay tribute or leave.
I've come to visit my aunt.
Oh,
Galicia.
you're a rabbit person. I didn't see. Well, you'll have to pay tribute then.
To you?
Well, I'll take the tribute, but I will give it to Gorman. It
Who's
doesn't
Gorman?
matter. Just pay.
But who's Gorman?
The gelding. Don't tell him I used that name.
Surely I'll just give it to him in person.
Make a persuasion roll. No. Show me what you have first, or I'll throw you in chains.
Looks from like heavily armored party member to heavily armored party member, then back to him. Like, I guess if nothing, he must be brave.
Or foolish.
How much is this duty?
A share of your wealth.
They have a progressive tax.
Should we refuse?
Then you must be gone. You will find no welcome here.
Not even for the rightful owner of this particular land. I'll motion towards Finnick.
Well, maybe for him, if he's a rabbit, then he can come. But the rest of you, you'll face the wrath of the gelding of Gorman.
And what are my bodyguards?
It doesn't matter. You'll have to pay tribute.
How about 1 platinum and you just go away?
How much is that worth?
10 gold?
All right. Do you have a way of giving me the gold? He says, a little bit reluctant to come too close.
I could give you the platinum, which is worth 10 gold. I can't give you 10 gold.
Yes.
I have 10 gold.
Do you have a bird that can deliver it?
Looks
Or a rabbit?
daylightless.
We do have a bird that can deliver it, finally. Because flightless now. Where is it?
Any animals nearby?
Yeah,
Oh, do you have a
yeah.
familiar, Garrick?
Yeah.
Oh, just use the familiar then.
Just tie it to an arrow and deliver it to him that way.
There we go.
Yeah.
So what is it that you do, Finnick?
Flightless had an idea. I was waiting for him to finish his sentence, but he's...
Right.
So he'll just point at his bird.
Guess I'll take out the platinum and hand it to the bird.
Caw. Good. This is silver, he says, holding up your platinum coin.
That's platinum. Looks like silver, but it's not. It's valued more.
The gelding will hear of your deception, he says, and takes his platinum piece and rides off.
What a bunch of peasants.
That these witless barbarians are allowed to run amok. It's a disgrace.
Did we long rest since last session?
I don't know. I think
Remember
so.
we've
Like we've
traveled
traveled
up here.
hundreds of miles, right? Yeah,
Good.
Did
Just need
we-
to know if I get my free spells back.
yeah.
Did we ride here, or did the wizard inform us of a teleportation circle or something?
Oh, a teleportation circle.
I think we
Oh,
got teleported.
no, I think we would have had to ride. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we fast traveled. I meant fast traveled as
Yeah.
in we skipped up to here with no
Yeah.
encounters, but we
Alright.
didn't actually teleport up here.
We just left clicked
Alright,
on the
fair
fast
enough.
travel button. Yeah.
Yeah, we just hit the forward wind.
Would you like to switch off encounters? Tick yes. Yes.
You've
guess
encountered
so.
a group of bandits, clicks auto resolve.
Exactly that.
The flightless dies, so we reloaded the game.
Yeah, that's.
Guess we can head to the town now. Hopefully, this person in charge actually knows what a platinum piece is.
You may do. All right. So into town we go. We find the areas around the town are quite settled. There is a few hundred people here. 500, which is it's a village. It's bigger than a hamlet, but it's not a town. And the majority of them are humans. The vast majority, in fact. And of the humans, about 3/4 of them are Cormyrians. The remaining quarter being Northmen, which means there's a sizable number of Northmen, like 100 of them. There's a bunch of half-orcs here, and only a handful of Herringons, and with the rabbit people, and a handful of others as well. But it's the Northmen that are most notable. While the Cormyrians are farming or working, and while the half-orcs are all labouring, and the Herringons, you might not have seen many more than one or two at this point, but they're living it up. They seem to have a pretty good life here. It's the Northmen that draw the most attention. They are arranged into well, I don't know if they're military units per se, in the same way as that a Viking ship is kind of a military unit. You know, they don't have uniforms, they don't march in order, but there are a gang of a dozen big dudes with great axes walking around looking for trouble. That kind of makes them a unit, I suppose. So in total, there's as many as oh yeah, all right, right. It seems that they are forming up into military units as we arrive. It's pretty disorganized, but they're getting into sort of blocks and they're putting on a welcoming committee for us. That's nice of them.
Hmm.
Yes, Finnick, leaning into his new egotisticalness, is going to stand up and start waving.
Hooray, hooray. They start waving their slings round and round and round, their staff slings.
A much less friendly greeting. Perhaps we should find who claims to be in charge.
Yes.
All right. So you've got these 100 soldiers. 100? Yeah, there is 100. There's 20 berserkers. Another young Northman, like the guy who came out to us and tried to boss us around. So braver than they are smart. And a bunch of commoners as well. A bunch of regular Cormyrians or Dales folk, depending on whether you see this as part of the Dales or part of Cormyr. It's not really part of either. And these people have got their staves and their slings, and yeah, the size of an army, like 100 strong here, of which 1 in 5 are elite units.
Very nice.
But they don't want to let you in. They start throwing rocks at you.
We have come to speak to who is in charge.
Oh, did you hear that? They want us to charge! Aye!
God damn it.
Hitting their axes against their shields.
Eleanor activates invulnerability and just stands there trying to talk to them.
I
Yeah.
like these people.
Did she say that in character?
Yeah.
Just look at you. Shake my head.
As you can see, I'm clearly a rabbit. I'm looking for my aunt Gunilza.
Oh, does anyone know an Aunt Gazilda?
Probably Lord or Mayor or whatever title you have here.
Isn't
Gunilza.
she dead? I do think that she is dead, yes. Why don't we ask the gelding? You know he doesn't like that name. Perhaps we could ask the long ears. Yes, call for the long ears. He will know.
I'm right here.
You are a long ears? Well, of course he is. Look at him.
Finnick Longears at your service.
Yes, the long ears is, it's a long ears. Alright, at this point a horse rider comes out. He's, taller than most men, even these massive muscle-bound fellows, probably not as stout, but a little more lanky. Bald, who has a nice purple cloak and some lovely shining chainmail. It looks like it's as shiny as silver or mithril. And he rides out on a beautiful multicolored horse out and holds up his hand towards the rowdy army that has formed. And this bald man looks over at you with a narrow gaze. You are Long Ears? Yes.
Yes, my aunt was Gunilza. I've recently been informed of her death. I've come to see the lands that she oversaw.
Perhaps you would be kind enough to talk with me in my tent.
Yes, sounds good.
And so he trots over towards you, then gestures towards a tent that sits a few hundred feet off the field. It's like outside the limits of the town itself. There's basically a barracks, a temporary war camp that has been built here, semi-permanently anyway. And the most decorative of these tents are the one that he directs you to. And so he reaches a tent before you do and dismounts and goes inside. A couple of guards at the door hand off his horse to somebody else to look after. What about you? It's not a very large tent. Do you go in alone? Does the entire party go in?
I
do you
suppose the
think?
entire party is not even really here, so I suppose I could just bring a select few bodyguards in. So, like, maybe
Yeah.
the paladin, the cleric who wants to come, and flightless who wants to come. Because then it's
Yeah.
just sort of like not everyone's coming, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Definitely not the weird barbarian.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but yeah, two of us here.
That's actually not a bad way of doing it actually. Since we do have a pretty good crew here. The informant, the representative, and the moral authority. So, yeah. Anyway, so it takes you into a nice tent. It's pretty luxurious in here, despite being quite small, and it's somehow Spartan and luxurious at the same time. A stout little stool and a very simple table, but a bronze ewer of fine wine and hot meats that steam with spices from faraway lands. And uh, you must forgive me. The accommodations are not particularly comfortable.
Guess Finnick will look around to see where the comfortable chair was and just hop into that and say, well, it is fine.
Very good. Do you drink? He doesn't give you
Just a
time.
little bit.
So he pours you some wine and some for himself, and offers towards the paladin and the priest. Just gestures, doesn't say anything. But are you drinking?
Yeah, similarly so.
Excellent.
I'll have a glass.
Very good. And when the glasses, chalices have been distributed, cups actually, probably chalices, probably one of the things that he has nice is somebody's plundered chalice. And he raises it up and says, "To what shall we toast?"
To the revitalization of this village.
Yes, and its eternal protection under the realm of Gloriana.
Grip my
Cheers.
halberd tightly.
Drinks.
No, not to be. I know I'm just here and I don't want to seem rude, but questions, why are some of the farms unattended? Just asking purely for curiosity.
There has been some sedition against King Hrothgar, and the rebels have been made examples of.
Cormyrians, I take it? Not big fans of the other faction to Cormyr? I forget the name of.
People are defiant, but they will learn their place.
Lady Eleanor's hating this.
Yeah, I'm grinding my teeth, and I so badly want to just kill him right here and now, but it's your lands, so I'm begrudgingly letting you make the call, basically.
Are you a friend of Cavill Longears, who has taken over in the untimely death of the old Barrow mistress?
I have to admit, I haven't been from the Fae. I've only recently been travelling around, and it's mainly been hunting dragons. I haven't really had time to chat with the family that's been habiting here.
Dragon? Surely you Jack.
And then I guess Finnick will take one of his dragon slaying arrows out of his backpack. No, I'm quite the accomplished dragon hunter.
May I? He says, gesturing towards the arrow.
Yep, I will hand it to him.
Picks it up and looks at it, and you can see the guy studying it, particularly reading the runes, and impressed. And all it takes is one of these arrows to kill a dragon?
If you get lucky, the bigger dragons it takes 2 to 3.
Incredible. Incredible. You are telling me, without an ounce of blarney, that you can kill a large dragon with 3 arrows?
On a good day, yes.
Is it your cloak? If you are rich enough to buy that, then I suppose you would not be so concerned about a small village such as this one.
That is why I've come to invest in this village. I've been sitting on a small fortune for quite a while now, waiting to get to the village to help improve it.
What did you have in mind?
I wasn't too sure until I got here. I didn't know anything about the village, what it needed.
Well, you will not have to worry about defense. King Hrothgar will take care of all matters related to security. Perhaps investments in the economy.
Perhaps. But on the matter of defense, what about Cormyr? I've been traveling through. They do have pretty sizable armies. And I don't mean to be offensive, because I, as you know, still new to the overworld. I don't really know much of Hrothgar's lands, as I spent most of my time hunting dragons in Cormyr.
Well, the realm of Gloriana extends from as far as you can see towards the stone lands in the west, to as far as you can see to Tilver's Gap east. It goes down to the Stormhorns and all lands on the northern side of it, and it reaches to the Immerflow, where the river meets the Hulak forest. This is Gloriana. You rest firmly within it. Hrothgar is a sensible ruler who has the strength to resist Cormyr. She is currently very distracted by her own internal.
Good. If I was to invest in the town, how would you improve the economy?
Well, I would not worry too much about roads for now. I would see it being more important to do things at ground level. Perhaps we could get some infrastructure for new chicken coops, for example, new fences, import some more livestock. Maybe we could bring some women. If we have more women, encourage the men to settle down to start farms.
Looking
Good.
down at
But you
Finnick,
don't
like,
mean slavery, right? Because
Ah,
as a fairy creature, and I assume Ganesha, you strongly believe in the freedom of one.
well, no, not slavery, but incentives for women. Take the Bedouin women. They live in the desert, harsh climates, subject to the men who have all rights among the culture. I am quite sure they would love to give up this hard lifestyle for your fertile lands and the loving arms of the North.
Oh, good, as long as it's not slavery.
No, it's not slave.
About the first gift from me to show that we're bonding friendship. That you may have to alter a little bit. How does some plate mail armor sound as a starting gift in our relationship?
That's most welcome.
They do have the Chimerian insignias on them. You might have to, if you want to, scratch that off. But
Thinks about it.
leave that up to you.
I'm quite a fan of iron. I am very pleased with this development. Will you be subjugating yourself to Cavill, or am I looking at change?
As it's probably pretty obvious, I'm not a very big ruler type. I'm more looking to invest in a town that when I retire from adventuring, I could come to live in. I'm more going to leave the politics and the leadership up to whoever's already in charge. I just more want to say when I'm around that I'm the Baron, so I can get the respect and a nice house, but I'll really leave the governing up to someone else.
Excellent, my lord. I think that we are natural partners.
Good. Are you able to liquidate assets into gold to use on the town?
Oh, yes. We have a means of doing so. We have better trade networks than perhaps anyone else in the region.
Right. Should we start with a smallish down payment, and then I'll come back and see how it went?
Oh, my lord, I would encourage you to invest heavily. This
How
is a
about
growth economy.
6 sets of full plate mail, and we will go with 30 bars of mithril valued at 15,000.
Yes, my lord, that will be sufficient.
As like, can I just can I try to get a bead on this? Is he just? I suppose he's just like a scammer getting as much out of it, or is he actually going to Does he seem like he's actually part of the village? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I want to make an insight check on Finnick.
Sure.
I want to see whether
Finnick?
this deal is Finnick. I want to see whether this
Okay.
is some sort of elaborate farce, or whether this is a genuine deal.
Okay. You can make your insight. Yeah, it's a genuine deal.
Very good.
The fury rises.
This guy is really happy. So hey man, how you doing? What we've got here is a foreign occupier, and this is the administrator, like a foreign minister. And we say, aren't these guys barbarians? Aren't they Talos worshipping thugs? And yeah, they absolutely are. Doesn't mean that there aren't a couple of smart, smooth manipulators among them, and this fellow is one of them. He hasn't introduced himself, for the record, but
yeah.
this guy is one of them. And given that the army answered to him, and given that the army occupy the town, it probably doesn't matter who sits in the mayor's chair. Power lies where men believe it lies. Power lies in the hands of the general. And this general, this occupying administrator who's working for King Hrothgar, he's already got someone in place, and things are apparently working just fine with this someone in place. He's still in control of the town in all ways that matter. But now we've got a guy who not only, well, first of all, he's a legitimate ruler. I haven't seen his documents or anything, but fuck documents. The guy's killed dragons. There's all the legitimate rule that a Viking needs. There's your king. Second of all, he brings gold and armor. Who needs to liquidate these assets? They're perfectly good the way they are. But
I
so
suppose
much.
because plate mail is just direct power. Because he can take that and gain a lot of favors and political power himself by gifting 5 of those sets of armor to his chosen most loyal soldiers, basically.
You can see how he's thinking right now. Why melt the armor when I can now take my dudes out of their scale mail and make them knights? I've now got a contingent of knights. That's fantastic. And as for the mithril, well, that's just blowing him out of the water. He doesn't even know what to do that. 15,000 gold pieces could go so far, but it's mithril. It seems like a crime to sell it. We should use it. So whatever. The guy's he's got all these plans unfolding in his head really quickly. And then what's this? And this ruler doesn't actually even want to rule. He just basically wants to come by once in a while and kick back and and hunt deer or whatever it is that nobles do. This is a match made in heaven. He's really excited to accommodate you. And my lord, my baron, I am Gorman. I am the right hand of King Hrothgar, and I will make sure that the king knows that you are his most loyal of barons. You will not have any problems in the future, and you are under my liege's protection.
Sounds good. This all sounds good to Finnick, but it sounds probably really pissing Lady Eleanor off.
Pretty much. Like as soon as we leave leave the tent, it's got some choice words for you.
Yes, I will take out my bag of holding, put the missile on the table, and say the plate mail's in my carriage. You can just get your soldiers to take it out.
Yes, my lord.
And it would be good to meet the other rabbit who's in charge.
Yes, of course, my lord. Would you wish me to be there to witness the proceedings, or would you rather
That's up
be?
to you.
I would like to be there. I hope that I can add legitimacy to the out.
Oh, this is going good.
It's going great. This is Mithril. He's looking at it. Said, "This is Mithril. This is what elven empires died and rose and fell for. Wow, it's so light." Anyway,
Yes.
so the party leave the tent. All delicacies that can be provided. Lambs are slaughtered in your honor. Honor guards are provided. Everybody soon knows that you are important guests of King Hrothgar, though the word that you're the Baron doesn't spread quite so fast.
Glare down at Finnick. Finnick,
Finnick's too
what?
full of himself at the moment, he can't even see you glaring.
What in the nine hells was that?
Just gonna look at him. I made a deal to improve the village.
Improve? In what way is handing leadership of this place to Northmen, of all people, improving?
They already own the village, Eleanor. Look around. I'm not going to turn up to a village that I technically have no right to and drive them into war.
They are not the rightful owners of this land.
Well, neither is Cormier anymore.
Cormier is the rightful owner of this land. If you don't believe that, you shouldn't be a Cormirian noble.
Probably not after this investment, but that's fine.
My eyes narrow.
You know I only used the nobility in Cormier to get what I wanted. It's not like I actually believed in Cormier. It was all part of the ploy, the play.
You test my patience, Finnick. It is only because we have been companions for some time now that I do not strike you down.
Easy, girl.
Uh,
I look over at Moog, like, you cannot be taking his side in this.
I don't know what religion you'd be following that would send your whole land into war, but you got a prince in the Stonelands and you were about to let that go because you wouldn't trade information with someone you didn't like. Your principles need to be reweighed. You're going to war. You're weighing things that don't matter.
Don't
You're going
matter.
to,
People here are suffering. Cormirians, my people, are suffering. I cannot overlook that.
so you think the weight of where Rabbiton goes is going to make the fix your country?
Maybe not. But be that as it may, I cannot overlook it. What if they were dwarves? What if this was half-hap taken by barbarians?
Well, I'm sure you'd see a lot of rubble and dead folk laying about, and the dwarves wouldn't go half-handedly. These people seem to do what they want.
Well,
Oh,
neither
let's-
did mine. Did you not hear? They rebelled. They failed. They're being punished.
Let's test that theory. I want to stop at some random Cormyreans.
All right. Yeah, you. No worries. You stop, and they stop their farming because there's a whole bunch of armored and weird dudes looking at them.
Guess I'll hop up onto the fence and look at them. So, you're Cormyreans, right?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, yes.
Were
I'm a
Cormyreans?
Cormyrean.
Anyway, details. How is
I'm
your
a
life
Dale
in this
then.
village?
Well, it's gone to hell, hasn't it? It's nothing like a King Azun's dream.
Indeed.
But would you rather be plunged into civil war and possibly die for this land? Or would you just rather stay as it is?
Oh well. I suppose that if that's what it comes to it, then we mustn't shy away from it. After all, when we settled up in these lands under King Azun's dream, we weren't expecting it to be easy, were we? We knew that there was orcs and everything else up here. Weren't expecting bloody Northmen, though.
But what would you do if I told you that the crown has abandoned you?
Well,
They're not going to send troops to help you because they're too busy in a civil war.
never really cared much for the crown's help anyway. If I wanted to be fed by the teat of royalty, then I would have stayed in the city. Came up here to get away from all of that. Bit of independence, really? Yeah, that's what I always liked about this part of the world. We still feels like the Dales down here. Still feels open and free. But ain't like that no more, not with these riggings coming in from up far north way beyond the moon, see? Oh yes, it's completely changed.
But they don't threaten or torture you?
Oh, my oath, they do all of these. They're destroyers. Well, then, you should have seen what they did to the Fanny Mays. It was awful. They's real violent people, real violent men, and they's come down here, and they's taken all the women around here for themselves, like forced marriage, like. You know, they claim that they's a settling here, but they's the violentest settlers I've ever seen. More like invaders and colonizers.
These are all valid points I will bring up in my next meeting.
Oh well, thank you very much. I do appreciate you listening. Uh, Yeah, it was a real pleasure talking to you.
Good. I guess I'll on back to the other meeting. Do see your point a little bit now, Lady Eleanor.
Yes.
I'd just be saying before we go fighting each other or laying down the lands of Comeria, you have a prince to be finding into the Stonelands, and we have the greatest army this land has massed in generations at our disposal. You could do what you think is fitting.
Well, if you will not stand with me, then I will stand on my own.
Or
Ah,
stand on your own for what? So you're gonna go to war with who? You're gonna
Finnick,
attack the rabbit?
Finnick, you're gonna arrest her now. She's in defiance to your rule.
Guess we'll just see what they say. I'm more of a fan of words before violence.
I think I've heard enough words. I propose that we cut a bloody swath through these cretins.
I think you'd be doing that better with going back to half and gathering the army.
Perhaps, but that would imply that you're willing to aid me.
You're a bloody member of the party. You're one of the generals of the army. I don't know what you're thinking. You're all gone mad.
Forgive me if I'm a little angry at seeing this disgrace of my people.
Your people are barely holding it together. I don't know what you're thinking. It'd be any better up here than anywhere else.
It might be the
Maria's been
frontier of
cursed.
Formia.
Trying to figure out what's happening up here in the far north is not going to fix your capital. Going to fix your capital and bring peace is finding the prince.
No, it won't. Even so, I do not intend to do nothing about this.
I just say that you tolerate the shenanigans for a little bit longer before we turn around and start just killing people.
Shenanigans?
I agree with the rabbit. We need to figure out
Uh,
what's happening here.
I think
That's
what's
rare.
happening is plain as day.
Yes, this town is succeeding from the Cormyreans, and you don't like it. Why didn't we
Not
go and butcher our way through the dwarven town? No offense, Moog.
Not
Because they succeeded.
seceding. They've been conquered.
But let's go speak to the rabbit first.
Let's go speak to the rabbit. Two talking
Very well.
rabbits. Something I've never seen in all my days.
I will wait a little longer then. After you.
I guess I'll start walking back to the rabbit. To the rabbit.
All right. So it's a lovely little town that you've inherited. Little windmills and cottages and bridges over rivers that dry up during the hottest summers. The people see that you're coming and they bow and they nod and they get out of the way and they offer you bushels um, and beers. But you're making your way up towards the lovely home, which is currently being expanded upon. It's the only building in town that is receiving any real renovations, real expansion. And the guards think about challenging you, but you've got Gorman with you, and they're between your own authority and his martial command. Not a single person stops you until you are in the throne room. It shouldn't be a throne room. It should be more like a dining hall or a banquet hall. But it's been converted into a throne room under the auspices of your cousin, Cavill. And we find Cavill, a white rabbit with red, bleary eyes, wide open, chewing his fingernails sick. He is loaded up with um, uh, a big, heavy, massive jacket that bulges out beyond him, looking like an oversized life jacket. But yeah, bigger than that even. And he's at once cowering in the throne and trying to maintain a regal air at the same time, sweating and pouring and uh, uh, Gelding! Gelding, I demand that you arrest this interloper immediately.
Is he pointing at me?
Yes.
No, cousin. Is that any way to greet your cousin?
Get out of here! You have no right! And it says that Rabidia is mine! It is bequeathed to me!
I guess I'll take out my paperwork and, hold it.
A fake! A fraud! Fraudulent!
And many things, but a fraud is not one of them.
A liar! A trespasser! Arrest him! Arrest him!
Could we keep this civil?
I do hope we are able to, my Baron. Baron? He's not the Baron, I'm the Baron. There's only one Baron, and it's me, Baron Cavill Longears. I built this town, and I'm building it up. I'm expanding it. I'm making it into a much grander place. Get out of here. You're ruining everything.
I very much doubt that you are in charge of this town.
But I am. This is my town, my heritage, my birthright. You've no right to it.
I'm going to turn to the barbarian. How long have you been in this town?
A few months.
I suppose he's probably been your puppet for the few months that you've been here?
My lord, I would prefer not to contact on matters of state.
I'd just take that as a yes.
He stands behind you and beside you like a right-hand man should.
No, cousin.
No!
I guess I'll start walking forward. I've not come to steal the town.
I don't want to hear your excuses!
Not here to steal the town.
You're here to kill me! You're going to kill me!
No, although I am very I'm very unimpressed at how you have abandoned the ways of the Fae so quickly. Sniffing and cowering like a human.
Stay away! Stay back! Come not closer!
What would the Fae Elders say of you? I bet even a human could trick you into doing what they wanted.
I think that they'd say he's got a bomb. And he opens up his massive jacket, and he is wired. He is loaded up with explosives, gunpowder, and shrapnel, and alchemist fire. And the guy is just one great big shaking, shivering, a like a Christmas tree with baubles on it, but explosive baubles. Step down! Relinquish your claim! Say that I am Baron and I'll let you live!
So your plan is to kill yourself?
I'll blow it all sky high! We'll give it to the Northmen! I'm not... It's mine! It's not yours!
As
Would
I
you be
keep
minded
saying.
if he blows himself up and he's all cooked and ripe if I try, boy?
As I've said before, cousin, as I say again, I'm not here to steal the village from you. I'm not here to claim the village.
Then I can be Baron?
Yes, so stop being a human.
He calms down and settles down, and he fumbles around for a pipe, for some opium. This guy needs to chill his nerves right now.
You need some copium.
And you let him indulge.
I'm going to sit down on a chair.
All right. So he lights up a wick with a long match, and uses the wick to light the opium, and shakes the wick so that it goes out. It's still smouldering at the end there, smoke coming off it.
How do you spell the barbarian's name so I can just write him down in my notes real quick?
Absolutely. This is Gorman the Gelding of King Hrothgar.
Unfortunately, I know what gelding is, and I can see why you'd hate that name.
So, Gorman.
My lord,
Feel a little bit tricked here.
did there deception underway?
I felt like when I said to meet the rabbit, you could have told me he was incompetent before we stepped into the hall.
I have failed you then, my baron. I did not want to prejudice your meeting. I thought it was best that since he was your family, it would be rude for me to insult him. Instead, you would want to go in with an open mind that did not have any prejudices.
Turn back to him in his homemade bottom suit.
He looks at your magic arrows and all your jewels.
Anyway, I'm going to speak to the real leader of this village, Gorman.
My baron?
I have heard that the old Camerians aren't being treated so good.
By whom, my liege? I will make sure that whoever is responsible pays the price.
By the Camerians themselves.
Oh no, my liege. Do you have any specific names? I will make sure to address their concerns directly.
I will be reluctant to give names as I did not ask for names, so don't actually know their names.
So it is more like hearsay, my lord, than actual accusations.
It's not accusations. I know that invading lands get a bit. Some of the soldiers maybe get a bit full of themselves, see themselves as better than the original inhabitants. Don't treat them as well as they should.
I understand, my lord. Yes, this. I must admit that there are occasionally the men that do get out of control, but I assure you that any such indiscretions are dealt with very, very harshly. If any evidence is provided to me, I will be without mercy in my wrath. I will deliver the wrath of Talos to whoever has offended you or your people, my lord.
Just would like to chuck an insight on that if that's cool.
Yeah. Huh.
Oof. That's a
pretty
big
good.
number.
Mhm.
So this answer is a little bit complicated. He's a Talos worshipper. He worships the god of destruction. The guy's not a fanatic, but his king is a fanatic, and so that kind of makes him a pragmatic fanatic. And so Talos's justice is very, very, very severe. You know, chopping off hands, chopping off heads, blood eagles. It doesn't get any harsher than the god of destruction. He's a chaotic evil god, so he doesn't have many laws. But if you break them, then you're really, really going to pay. And when it comes to this particular situation, let's if you want cultural change, like all the men should stop sexual violence, then you're probably talking to the wrong society. Sexual violence is part of their modus operandi. If, however, you're able to find a specific case of Thorgar the barbarian who committed a particularly heinous act against one of the local people, then Thorgar is going to be made an example.
It's just like, Holgar over there accidentally, quote unquote, accidentally killed his wife, but everyone knows it wasn't an accident.
Sure, but they probably wouldn't bother with that, you know. If that's just like that. If I'm getting what you're saying now. If Thorgar was guilty of killing his wife, and a case would be presented before him, and he was found guilty, then they would write sagas about the pain that he endured in his execution. Gorman was sure of that. But it's about punishing the man, not changing the system.
That's a hard one. And we're being upfront, how do you feel personally about Comerians?
My lord, I am not a historian, but I am a learned man. I like to think that as I can read in many languages, that I am an educated man. I have a great deal of respect for the Cormyrians. I think that their former king was one of the greatest heroes of our age. Did you know that they stopped the Tugan horde far beyond the north of the Moon Sea? They were defending lands north of even where I am from. They have interests as far away as the Sword Coast. Understand that they are considering joining the Lord's Alliance. Shows that Vormir is one of the premier powers of the world, or it was, but its time has passed. Its golden age is over. Its golden age has come to an end. Nothing but respect for the Cormyrean people. For the Cormyrean system, I believe monarchy is the most stable form of government. But Cormyr, like an old warrior who has taken too many wounds, and he is deserving of his respect, so that you can watch him die peacefully. He will not be forgotten.
But I meant more the people in the town. They're treated, I assume, with the same rights as the Northmen.
Oh, if they are willing to accept King Hrothgar's jurisdiction, then yes. The men are offered positions within the army, and the women are offered stable homes that they can marry into and start their families and breed a new generation of King Hrothgar's domain. Yes, absolutely. Anyone who is loyal to King Hrothgar will find this realm to be very prosperous, very secure. And there are those, however, who insist on being defiant in the wake of changing times will, unfortunately, find that their terrorism is not welcome under the new reign.
What about this forced marriage I heard of? Because, my
Well,
stance on slavery, and I kind of see that as almost the same thing.
No marriage is forced, my lord. You cannot force marriage, because marriage must be between two willing partners. No priest would ever accept a marriage where one party or the other disagreed. This is why that marriages always have a holy representative, because the gods will see, and it is not possible for a marriage to go ahead without consent.
Just out of character. Is that real in D&D?
Well, is it real in real life?
No.
You know, if I drag my maiden before a drunken compliant priest that I've given 5 gold pieces to,
Yeah, but being
and
like
put a sword
Talos
to his
won't
throat.
appear before you in real life and smite you for doing that, then?
Talos is real though in this.
That's a valid point. That's a valid point, and that sort of shit does happen. More often, like usually they won't just send a lightning bolt to strike you though, but rather they'll act through human agents to get their revenge, and like a farm boy instead becomes a first level paladin with a quest to get justice. That's both things are legitimate. The lightning bolt and the paladin are equally legitimate ways for justice to be delivered. But more often than not, what goes around does come around.
And I guess on a more mechanical note, in the ceremony spell, it has to be 2 willing people for the wedding one, so I guess it would fail if the one was unwilling.
So they're casting that spell.
It's an expensive spell, though. I don't think many peasants are affording 25 GP worth of powdered silver.
Remember, they get that +2 AC to whatever AC commoners have.
10.
So they have a huge 12 AC.
Anyway, I guess I'll look to Lady Eleanor and then look back to him. What about some that believe this is technically still Cormyr's land?
Well, then Cormyr is free to come up and try to claim it. King Hrothgar would likely welcome a chance to test all of his green soldiers in battle.
How many soldiers does King Hrothgar have?
My lord, I have not been back to Gandarak Hill for some time.
How many
Oh,
before?
Before there were, I think maybe 500 Northmen, 500 Sembians, maybe. I suspect the numbers are closer to about 2,000. Although with conscripts taken off the land, there may be another 1,000 on top of that. But they are really nothing more than militia, and cannot be trusted in either skill or in temperament.
You don't fear Cormyr? I've been through their lands and I've seen them muster 10,000 from just one city.
I respect Cormir. I do not fear many things, my lord. I do not have much fear in my blood. Fear of the gods, yes. Fear of authority, yes. Fear of dishonor. I do not fear any army, any man who is not my king, who is not my baron. I think that Cormir can ill afford to send such a large force here to the north, too far, and besides, I have met Cormirian nobility. I have dined with Count Vorn, and I have found that Cormirians sit on their laurels, and they believe that because they live in a house built by their grandfather, that they are equal to their grandfather, and they are not. I think that Boromir's time has passed, and you can tell that by the generation of men who can be found in the lands in the modern era.
What you be saying about the dwarves and half hat?
Dwarves, oh, half hap that is on the north side of the Stormhorns, yeah.
I haven't been hearing where we be praying to your gods or binding the knee to your king.
Well, I do not think that Hrothgar has given much thought to the dwarves. We do not know that there are any dwarves that are against Gloriana. Do not think that we have any enemies among the dwarves, and I do not believe that we would have many reason to make enemies, for the dwarves live under the ground, and King Hrothgar has no intention of conquering the Underdark.
What about your feelings on the Zentarum?
The Zentarum, well, they are too far away to bother us. I have a long history with the Zentarum. The Zentarum often come into our lands, more so than into the Dales. They have always gone into the beastlands of Thar, where we are from. They have always gathered up troops from there. My people have clashed with the Zentarum for a very long time, but I have also had relations with them on an individual level that have been fruitful for all involved. I do not think the Zentarum are particularly relevant to Gloriana. It's too far away. Their designs are on the Dales, are on the Moonsea.
But
We
what
are
if... Sorry.
we are in the middle here, and we are independent.
But if I had invested interests in some places that Zentarum hold,
My lord, anything that you conquer, would it also be part of the realm of Gloriana, Queen Hrothgar's realm?
probably not. But it would be a big boon to the resources to the land.
My lord, forgive me if I pry too deeply, but where are these locations?
Guess I'll turn to the dwarf if he wants to share or not.
Hold your tongue. We have to substantiate your claims before we be giving this. We're just diplomats. We don't say or speak for the behalf of the crown or the people of Half Hap per se. Rabbit here is the only one with a lawful stake to any kind of royalty in your region. And I don't know if they've given it up to Gloriana. I don't know if Cormeria is thinking of that. I don't know. This is all new to me. But I can tell you one thing. Dwarves aren't going to be sharing anything that they conquer or give to you or to your king. That be certain.
Well, we have no conflict with the dwarves that I am aware of. Indeed, we are a horse people. We like the open plains. We like the rolling hills. We like the road. The mountains, you can keep the mountains.
This is most of my questions.
Yes, I think that we are natural allies. You see, King Hrothgar, his style of leadership is very hands-off. He does not like to rule directly. He likes to have prosperous realms that behave independently, but who do not defy him, who are able to pay the taxes when they demand it, who are able to supply fresh bodies when they are needed. This is very simple, and it is the liege right of any feudal king to be able to call upon his vassals so.
If you do not mind, I probably have a few party members who have a few questions, want to shout at me. So if you don't, could we have a quick private word?
My Baron, I am at your disposal. You may dismiss me, or you may summon me at your will.
I will send someone to get you, and could you take the suicide rabbit with you?
Oh, you'd forgotten about me. You thought that I wasn't paying attention. I heard everything that you said.
Yes, you're still in charge. I'm just here to fund the village until I leave.
He
You
takes
know, a
his
quick come in, fix it, and leave.
makeshift crown and puts it back on his head and strides out defiantly.
He'd look delicious roasted.
Alright, I guess once they're all out, I just look at Lady Eleanor, sit back and get ready.
Yeah. Well, is your decision still the same?
It's not like I have enough troops to actually capture this town, considering I have 0 troops.
We have
Why are we
ourselves.
talking
Pretty
like
sure
you
we
don't
could
have
kill all
people
these
flying
barbarians.
around?
There's 500 of them.
Thought it was 100.
I mean, there's 500 in the next town as well.
Hmm.
How many barbarians was there again, Arctic, in this town alone? I might have started
Yeah,
confusing the other town with this town's
I think 50.
numbers.
50. So what we've got is we've got 20 elites, 20 seasoned warriors, 30 young fellas who, young bloods who want to prove themselves, and then about 50 Cormyrians who've signed up with their Stockholm syndrome, and they're going to back up the barbarians in battle.
And how many do we have in half?
Gosh, a bit. I'll give you the exact number for
A bit.
that. Yeah.
Yes,
I think we have. I think it was stated that we have one of the largest armies in the realm right now.
but one of the bigger problems is I can't just march an army into this town, kill everyone in it, and then leave. I think it becomes more of my responsibility if I start declaring war on their behalf to then have not to leave. Like, who do I leave in charge? You've seen that rabbit. He's useless.
Is this our army here?
Yeah.
So 2,000. Yeah, so almost 2,500. It's pretty good.
It's huge. It's like the population of Dagger Falls is only 2,000.
So
Plus, aren't these not ready till summer?
They're not
Till
ready for summer.
spring.
Yeah, that's right. So how many have we got? I'm not sure.
I say we have business here. I say we have business in the Stonelands and flushing out Prince. And I say we settled the business to the south. Now we need to settle it to the north. But as soon as half is free, from my perspective, then we could take on the mines.
So what order are we doing it in? Mind?
We have one of the greatest standing armies, and you're all generals. How do you want to fix this place? I'm saying my kin and half hat are going to be under the menace of this barbarian king. And I'm not going to be sleeping light with me ma and pa, ready to be brought upon by some evil army.
So
Personally,
you recognize the illegitimacy of this force, then?
I recognize the threat of a tyrant, and I don't be trusting these gods that they be bending the knee to. And I think
God
that
does
faster we bring peace to Cormeria, the faster we can get this land to healing. And the faster this land heals, the better it'll be for my kin.
Mm.
we can't just wipe out half the population of this town.
We wouldn't be attacking this town.
Why not when half of the population is north?
And half of them that we would be killing would be Cormerians.
Is this the most strategic place to be taken?
Probably not.
Therefore,
There's a castle over there.
would it not be strategic to be taking the stronghold? The few that are in this town will go away once they're cut off from their main army.
I think it's more that Lady Eleanor wants to hack her way out of this village now.
I think that
Pretty
you're all
much.
diplomats.
Very, very angry.
But if it takes us to kill everyone in this village, all the barbarians, we just leave this village defenseless when we leave, and then they come in with a tempest might and kill everyone else.
Aye. That's why you gotta cut
Most
off
of
the head of the snake.
most of the Comerians have fled already. This would be giving them an opportunity to flee as well. Cormier's not far.
I should just turn up to my village and tell them all to leave. Have an abandoned village.
This is not the strategic place where the war is going to be hitting hardest if it becomes to that.
So that's what fighters will pipe up in your minds when Cormier is strong again. Like this will be Cormirian. If we just kill all the people keeping the region stable, it will just be lawless. It won't be Cormier.
If we start attacking,
What's better, lawlessness or Norse law?
Yeah.
But the thing is, he's genuinely asking because he's not sure himself. He's looking to you for guidance in this issue.
you're not going to be finding any law in Comeria until you find the prince. And the faster you find the prince, then you'll be able to make peace, and that peace will come north. But if we take the Gloriana, we're going to have to take it all. We're not going to be leaving troops ready to come back and strike at our weak points.
Yes, you do speak logic. You speak soundly. I wouldn't deny that. But you asked me to close my eyes to the suffering of my people. I do not know if I can do that.
I just ask you to be a diplomat right now for the better good of your people. You alone aren't going to be able to take on everybody and fix these problems by yourself. Come back with an army. Then your words will have more weight.
Mm.
Well, it seems as if if we're going to wade into the issues in Gloriana, we need to deal with Hrothgar, not the scattered Northmen here in Rabidia.
Aye.
If we drive them out here, more will come, and will likely just be worse than it is for them now.
And they will likely punish the populace in their absence.
Well, I wouldn't intend for the populace to stay.
You gotta cut the head off.
Well,
It's all out war. With
hundreds of
barbarian.
miles to the south of here, I think, before they get back into truly settled Cormyrian lands. Not sure any of them would make it.
It has to be strategic.
You speak sense, but so many times have I closed my eyes to suffering right in front of me. Again and again. I can no longer rest on my laurels.
Well, I think Rothgar is the one needs to be made to pay.
When you start smiting, make sure you're smiting the right ones.
The Barons believe in might is right?
Say that
Okay, so
again.
Barbarians.
Barbarians, yeah,
Right.
Barbarians believe in might is right.
They do.
I would suspect so, yeah.
So if I went technically and challenged this King Hrothgar to one-on-one and killed him, would I be the new king of Gloriana? Or is it not quite that Viking aesthetic?
I think you'd have to honor your challenge and fight you one way or the other. If you aren't,
Yeah, I
if
think
you challenge the Viking to hand combat, he's got to accept.
I'm definitely not doing hand-to-hand combat. It'll be fight to the death with blades.
if I
You know what
recall
you're saying.
actual Viking
Single
stuff.
one-on-one combat can't be dismissed. But whether or not the rest of the clan accepts you as their king, that'd be a different story. They might just replace him with someone else. I'm guarantee he would take you up on that wager, though. What barbarian king would, understanding of what they do, be able to show his face if you turn down a fight to a rabbit?
Yeah, but what
Hmm.
offer could I offer him? Because if he loses, I become king. If he wins, he doesn't gain anything. He just stays the king.
He loses,
Suppose I
he
could just
dies.
offer him my belongings. I do have like almost 100,000 worth of Mithron on me.
You don't have to offer him anything to combat. You just have to say you challenge him. There's no
Should
limit to glory.
If I recall Viking sort of culture right, I think if you challenge somebody like that, you can also send a champion to fight them in your stead.
that works even better for me. Guess we can. Should we call in the other barbarian, Gorman? He probably knows a bit more.
I don't know if you'd be wanting to spill them the beans on what you're thinking. They might already be listening to us talking. However, that's something we need to figure out where this king is. It's easy enough to find him once we do.
So we all. So knowing Viking beliefs, is that actually like that? Would that actually work?
Can I roll a history check on that one then?
Yeah, go ahead, make a history check. Yeah, pretty solid theory.
Big number.
Yeah, there probably isn't really a precedent for it. But it all checks out. Like
Yes.
a couple of things can happen. He can either defeat the rabbit, or he can be the man who was defeated by a rabbit, or he can be the man who was too afraid to fight a rabbit. If you could maybe come up with a dismissive thing where it's like, oh, I don't take this seriously, and not accept it because it's not taken seriously. Well, that might be a way out. But the guy sounds like a warrior king, right? And warrior kings live and die by the sword. So there's every chance that he'll just say yes, because if he doesn't, then it threatens his reputation, and reputation is everything.
I suppose if you just state your the things you've done in the past, it makes it like I've killed dragons with like 2 shots.
Yeah, and I'm a baron of this here land, and I've got a Cormyrian noble representing me, and you guys have claimed the dwarven lands, and we've got a dwarf here. Yeah, like you guys have your casus belli. You're legitimate claimants. And so that would, I think, make it harder for him to refuse.
Isn't that a bloody
So-
title?
We up for that instead of butchering our way out of this town, Lady Eleanor?
When? How?
I mean, we
He's
just
a big
ask where the
dog.
king is, we travel down to him, challenge him.
I cannot. It cannot
could
be
do it
that
today,
dreadfully
tomorrow.
simple. Well, let's say you did win, or any of us won, and we became the new ruler. I doubt the barbarians would be receptive to the idea of disbanding their nation.
I'm not saying.
Who says
Well,
disband the nation?
I'm not be saying they're going to give you their kingdom. You're just going to be killing this despot. That's all you're saying, and it's going to cause Gloriana. Barbarians or tribes will be falling apart, and Gloriana might be falling apart if the new king doesn't pull it together. You're going to be settling unrest. There's no way the barbarians are going to make the rabbit their king. If he wins, it just won't happen. They'll be singing stories about the ravaged beast from the next millennia. However, a king rabbit of the Lord of the Barbarians.
Hmm.
I'd be a bearded gnome before that happens.
But I wonder if we know a pragmatic Norseman who we could replace the fanatic with.
Who?
I think that's the greatest plan ever. I'm all for the rabbit challenging the Viking king.
Because we don't know him, but it might be a good idea to replace him with. Is it Gormond?
There's
Yeah,
no one you
Gorman.
can replace him with. It's not yours to replace. I would be getting that idea out of the head.
And if I
These people
challenge him
are
for the
all
kingdom and he
barbarians.
accepts,
All you'll be doing is killing this king, and the tribe will have to make understanding of who the king of their tribe is. And then all the tribes will have to discuss who the king is again. And they'll be in chaos, discussing and fighting amongst each other to determine who the next king is. This king has been ruling Gloriana with an iron fist. Barbarian tribes don't come together peacefully. They fear their leader. But you know, if you fight this man, it isn't going to be an easy fight. To be the king of this barbarian tribe, there's got to be some specimen of a
you may not
warrior.
have seen me use a sword yet, but Finnick is quite dangerous with a sword.
You're going to be needing that. They'll be calling you the beast. Long-eared beast with savage
Oh,
fangs.
this reminds me of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Finnick just rips out his jugular.
Alright.
So
So,
what
are we
would be your
gonna.
names, Lord Finnick? Vikings, you have to have a name, and you have to precede yourself with a long name. What are your acclimates? What name shall you be having when we introduce you?
Baron Finnick Longears, Slayer of Red Dragons?
What else?
Purple
Gnawing
worms?
death teeth.
Gotta be longer than that.
Do Vikings have really long names?
Yeah. In this world, they do. Did you ever read that stuff? There's a lot of it in the.
I read some of it, not the barbarian stuff.
What's
And I thought
that?
we
Yeah,
wouldn't get. I thought we wouldn't get to the barbarian bit.
yeah. So they all introduce themselves with like these long names that and they're introduced by their squire and has to be solid faced. And the longer you list every triumph that you've ever had in your name, and it takes forever sometimes.
I'm trying to think of something Finnick's done, but I think the only notable stuff Finnick's really done is slain dragons and purple worms.
Let's
It's pretty
see.
notable.
You could talk about
Villager of Tethiamar.
vanquishing the Netherese in Tilwerton, maybe.
I suppose Demon
Yeah,
Slayer
Tethiamar,
works
I'd
too.
say. Were you involved in the killing of the Beholder?
Yes.
Yeah.
Beholder be goner.
Think about a rabbit. Your name needs to be longer than you.
not spelled demon for some reason. Am I being special?
Huh.
Demon. Like what? Because I keep trying to put an A in it for some reason. Yes, so we're going to do this? I'll think of a title on the way there. Make it long.
Yeah,
Aye.
sure.
Still cannot believe that the idea is to fill the barbarian king's shoes.
But we can either start dismantling Gloriana now, or we can start looking for the lad.
Is that long enough? That's not quite spelled correctly, but I'll fix that later.
Hmm.
You have to put some spicy adjectives before each one of those. What did you do? So you Slayer of Dragons, but then you had to do another.
Like destroyer of
Spicy.
purple worms.
Yeah.
Swallower of purple worm.
Well, if we kill Rothgar, this place is the whole north is going to descend into chaos.
And a lot of people will die. Like, even if we succeed in killing him just one-on-one.
Well, what's going to happen is the barbarian leadership is going to start making a fall apart, and the tribes are going to be questioning who they follow. That's what
I'm familiar with gavel kind. This will be very sad for the barbarian king.
In the ensuing conflict, it's those at the bottom of the totem pole that will suffer the most. My people.
Aye, but you have an army. So what do we want to be doing about it? Do you want to be going in there cutting off the head of the snake right now? Or do we want to be finding your prince first, or turning to measures of that? And setting up a plan to how we can topple Gloriana once the king falls.
Hmm. Yes.
Do we want?
You are right that it will take more than the simple liberation of one town to topple all of Gloriana and save all of the Comerians. But I can still do something for this town, right now, while the others wait.
Yes, but I will think, like, if I understood Arctic correctly, that if I killed, I would become, like, technically the king, and then I could appoint someone better for the who.
I don't think
Cormier.
you don't think Vikings would never follow you. That's not how you become the king. If you were
Yeah, but we've been told, like, in this system, that's sort of how it works. And anyone who's like, hey, you're a rabbit, I don't trust you, just gets an arrow in the forehead.
no, like, I don't know. Like, they're not going to say all of a sudden this rabbit is the king of the Vikings. Like, that's just checking out of, like, all. They would have their own civil war on their hands if that happened, even no matter how mighty the rabbit is. Like, it's usually a Viking tribe with the king overthrowing another one, and that tribe becomes. Like, they have a people and they have a tribe. It's not. If they're barbarians, and that's how it is.
So it could be that the region as a whole will accept Phoenix legitimacy, partly because they just don't give a fuck who's ruling them anyway. They don't actually care. But yeah, when it comes to the Northmen themselves, the invaders, it would be comical if they had to admit to every other Viking that they serve the fluffy bunny king.
Yeah, but then they can always just send them my way, and I can kill them in one-on-one combat after I kill the king in one-on-one combat.
Yeah, and it comes to a point where after killing 120 of them, right, like that they just submit, and you are Darth Rabbit at that point, like you are this strange, terrible scourge that has the kind of mythological terror that is invoked by the Monty Python skit.
Either way, Gloriana is disrupted, and there's no
Wow, that took.
head of the
was
snake.
quick.
My God!
Yeah, how about that?
I was trying to make it personal. You just got every
Okay.
single thing you could into there, didn't you?
Oh
He
my
who does not serve. Garrod Purger.
That's freaking awesome.
Avenger of the Dead.
Player of the great game.
Is this like Nagash or something?
Cetra the
Freaking
Imperishable's
awesome.
full list of
Cetra.
titles.
Fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I couldn't resist.
Well, if Dark Elf stuff is canon for Forgotten Realms,
You just
there's no way.
like, imagine having
There's
to say
no way
that
to
like
like it.
every time you walk into like a new room or something.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly how in the Dark Elf trilogy, how they introduce themselves to the Viking. It takes forever, and it's about that long. And their scribes have to, with power and might and total stoicism, announce that. It's pretty funny in the books, but I don't see how a rabbit would be able, just like kind of like a halfling taking over the Viking clans.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
but the
I guess at some,
halflings, like,
if the halfling slays all who questioned him, I think eventually they'd get the hint.
Well, if that happened, then the clans would just fall apart into their own tribes and go their separate ways, and there would be no.
then that wins for us either. Either Finnick becomes the overall king, kills anyone who questions him, or it all implodes and ends.
Yes.
Either way,
That's why-
Gloriana
And then Cormier
falls apart.
invades like was it dozens of like tiny tribes instead, or like one
Well,
unified
they-
force.
Mhm.
The tribes
see
would
what's
serve their own point in time, right? They would go home. They would do whatever. They would serve their own interests. They wouldn't be.
Yeah, so
They would be making. The tribes would making their own.
I'm gonna say, but like,
peace agreement
Chief
or-
Dave and his 100 like men will go off, and then to his own little tribe. And then when Cormier will come up, it's like, hey, look, you and your alliance with the other small tribes, you have like 500 troops between you. Okay, like Cormier blinks and 10,000 soldiers have killed all of them, and the land is Cormier again.
Mm.
Yeah, you'd have ones that wanted to stay and blend into the society, and bend the knee, and then you'd have tribes that would be, we're warrior, we're going back to our homelands.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but the point is, either way, we win.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what happens after. We're all agreeing on this challenging the king person. See what happens.
exactly.
If this town, like, out of character, if this town wasn't Phoenix Town, I'd be determined to just absolutely go, Doom Eternal on it. But
Yeah, but the problem is leaving it and coming back. They just come back and kill everybody.
well, the
Well, if
idea
you
would
cut
be to
off
have
the head of the-
everybody.
No one's going to
have
be in
everybody-
charge. Like the leadership is going to disband.
I mean, like, if we just started butchering people in this town rather than going and killing the king, as Lady Eleanor wants to do.
I know.
That's
It's
what I'm
just,
saying.
I figure in character, she's had to sort of hold back the smiting so many times, like the audience with the Night King and so on, that this would be kind of like stress release.
So
But as I mentioned, because it's Phoenix Town, it will not
I suppose.
persist any further.
But I do have one.
So isn't it like
I suppose Flightless has one question for Eleanor, though.
What's that?
It's like, if inevitable death was descending on Cormier, would you abandon it and leave?
No, I'd die for Cormier.
But you expect the people of this town to do differently?
If they're Cormerians, then they should be willing to fight and die for Cormier.
Yeah, so
What he's saying, they're going to stay in this town and fight and die for Cormier, rather than us killing the king and then just making it easy for Cormier to take it so that people don't have to fight and die for Cormier. It just becomes Cormier eventually through the process of just weakening their leadership and their ties to the land.
Yeah, it's true. I would do that as well, but just also this. As I mentioned, it's your town, so I will not persist.
And I was just thinking of this analogy. Didn't the Jedi have to deal with the Hutts? Like, don't you have to be a diplomat sometimes, even as a paladin?
Sometimes, but she's had to bow her head to so many evil entities that it's starting to get a bit much. just wants to just smite the shit out of some stuff.
Rolling initiative is one hell of a drug.
Huh.
Yeah. I was very tempted to try to interject and whatnot, but it's your moment. I didn't want to put my foot in the door.
The thing is,
Plus, you
as it's
owe me.
going,
I
you'll
was waiting to
probably,
kill the.
you'll probably end up as the champion to fight like the High King anyway.
Depends. I get Mo to look at his levels, and then I'll probably fight him.
Well, let's,
Can't do a challenge and then not fight it myself.
What if he
That's,
kills you?
Yeah, what if
That's
he
just
does
life.
kill you? That's just life. Fair enough.
I guess if he kills you, then we can just all gang up on him and kill him after.
Oh,
That-
yes, the way of the true warrior.
True honor.
True
Very
honor.
honourable.
Anyway, so are we up for this? Or you got other plans you want to do, Eleanor?
I'm happy to figure out where the king is and to enact the strategy to cripple Gloriana by killing its leader.
Good. Right, I guess I'll knock on the door and ask him to go fetch someone.
Tell him we
Go
want to
fetch
have
our
a meeting
dude.
with the king. Dude, this is gonna be one of the most epic stories I've ever even thought about. A
Hmm.
rabbit fighting
Hmm.
an honor fight against the king of the barbarians of Gloriana.
Sweet.
That's freaking-
I just had to quickly set up my rapier damage. I wasn't planning on using it, so it wasn't set up.
Sure.
So that's already.
This
What is
is-
like nearly the
Said-
35th session? We're level 11. He's like, I'm going to set up my weapon damage.
It just said rapier +1 with no stats on it.
I don't care if we all do TKO party on this one. This is just you got to do it. This is just,
Right. Okay. I guess I'll get one.
too epic of a-
Go knock on the door and get one of the servants to fetch Gorman.
All right.
I guess he'll probably know where the king is since he's the second-hand man to the king.
It's a fair call. My baron, or how can I be of service?
We have decided. Where's the king?
King Hrothgar, he is stationed out of Gondorak Hill on the other side of the pass, a few hundred miles, maybe 150, 200 miles from here. But he is mobile. He is often in the field himself, on the road himself. So we cannot be sure if he will be sitting in the war camp there or elsewhere.
Any way to get contact with him?
Yes, I am able to be in contact with our king. Is there a message that you would like to send?
I guess we still have this telepathic link up, right? Because Nick Flight has spoken to her mind before.
Yeah, like the various telepathic bond. Because if it
Do we
lapses,
just-
he'll just cast the spell again.
I guess I'll be in my mind. Do I just tell him that the challenge now, and then he just sends the challenge, and then we can fight him when we get there? Or so we could just skip the getting there and formally challenging him. Oh, no, he's ready for the challenge.
I think it would carry more weight from you.
I wish to seek an audience with him. It's a matter
Yes,
most
of
important to
course.
discuss.
Should I plot out the agenda? Is there something in particular you want to rise, or you're simply swearing your fealty?
Just an important meeting. We'll stick with that.
He makes an insight check.
The
Are you
NPC makes the insight check.
Are you sure that there's not something specific that you wish to place on the agenda?
Discussion of the kingdom.
That's my baron. I
Invite
will
him to bring
feel-
his war camp to Half Hat. We want to discuss the ongoings of the army amassing there and the dwarves going to Tedimur.
I am sure that
And we'll
that
invite
would
him to
be.
parlay.
I
Yes,
am
We'll be
sure.
feasting and drinking.
Yes. sure that the king will visit in time, but it would be appropriate for fealty to be sworn at Gondorak Hill before any such visit can be made.
I would prefer in a more neutral place, such as the dwarf village.
We're amassing one of the largest armies this land has ever seen. I'm sure it'll get the king's attention, and he might want to be seeing it. He's much disgusted of what we're beginning to doing.
If this is what you are requesting, my baron, then I will make sure that King Hrothgar is aware of your ambitions.
Good.
Tell him we'll be honoring his visit with a feast, and we'll make him a mead hall.
I shall inform him of your intentions.
Good. So I suppose, how quickly will you hear back from him?
Oh, well, it is about 4 days' ride in each direction, so I suspect that within the 10-day we will have an answer.
That's a lot longer than I was hoping for.
We could ride until the rider drops, and we could have the time, make it 5 days.
A
Don't
10
think
day would be
it's-
perfect.
Yeah, I don't think we'll go with the longer one. I don't think someone dying's
We
that
need
important.
some time to prepare for him and set up the feast and make sure everything is right.
If the Red Wizard is still there, I would like to buy some scrolls.
Well, I suppose that's done then. Yeah, that's the message.
Well, that is very good. My Baron, I would like to ask you something personally, if
Yes.
I may. Do you have an opinion on or any experience with the magicians from the shadow of Anarok calling themselves the Netherese?
Yes, they are a group of evil wizards that plan to reclaim their empire.
Where do you stand in that, my lord, given that Anarok is your neighbor?
Pretty sure we're opposed to them, right? Yeah,
Most certainly.
we are opposed to them.
Mm.
Well,
Oh,
they will want to probably claim everything if they're allowed to claim their land.
yes, I expect that this will barely register on their maps, but they will not. That will not stop them from wanting to absorb this realm into their own. This is my
They
belief.
probably will come for this town, as they came for Tilverton. And that is only but a day's travel from here.
Thank you for uh, informing me of your position. I'll ensure that King Hrothgar hears about your plans, and I am confident that within 10 days' time we will have a message and answer, and if not, then I will personally find out why not.
Then you'll be visiting us in Half Hat then.
If
'Cause
that
that's
is
where
what
we
my
go.
baron, if that is what my baron requests, I am at your disposal, Lord Carrick, Lord Finnick.
Yes, we will be in Half Hat preparing for the king's arrival. Don't want to disappoint. King.
Very good, very good.
That will
Right,
be
well,
all. You may return to your normal duties.
thank you, Baron. I will put your investment to good use, and I am sure that a new day, a new glorious day has dawned upon our glorious realm, Gloriana.
Yes. I hope so too. So are we heading to Hap Hap now? Half Hap?
Believe so.
Order of business when we get to Half Hap. I think we should be sending scouts to the Stonelands looking for the prince, and we should be then setting up the feast area and the mead hall and a gathering place outside the town where they can make his tents.
And I would
If you were
request a substantial amount of gold to finish. No, not quite. To further my arcane focus. It's basically he's asking for money from the fund so he can buy scrolls because he hasn't got money, but he can just trade. What is it? The trade bars, but that's not a clean transaction.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, as long as we already gave 10,000 of it to fucking Artisan. Why not?
I did some math while you guys did that. And if the red wizard is still there, meaning we're using the same magic prices, it's about 6,000 gold to get all the spells to just fill out my spell book.
A lot of spells.
There's a lot of spells, but I think
Any of them counter spell?
Excuse me.
Any of them counter spell?
It can't be counted. It's not a ritual spell.
Useless, not worth the money investment.
The Lich casts Power Word Kill. I'm like, hey mate, can I have 10 minutes and one reaction, please?
Hmm.
And the Lich just too polite to say no, just sits there and waits for me to finish ritual casting.
Anyway, we're off to Half Hap. Yeah,
I think so.
probably can have that money. Don't even know how much we have, but probably if the rest of the party agrees.
Although I should note that he's in the prince is rumored to be in the Stonelands, but he's in the care of Vandergast, who's an archmage, and I don't think a couple of scouts are likely to stumble across his inner sanctum.
That's how those guards become level 1 adventurers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we want to find an archmage, we'd have to go there ourselves.
More than likely.
I've got a feeling the scouts we send ourselves would either not return or just come back saying they didn't find it.
Also, did we get a point in the Stonelands or just the Stonelands?
Just got the Stonelands, right?
Yeah, this a pretty vague description, especially to find a wizard's lair.
Should have asked the Princess Regent and her war wizard there if they know where. Wasn't he the head of the war wizards before?
I think so. But I don't think they know, although they surely would have told us. Or they'd
I
have
probably
gone-
would have checked that out.
Yeah, they would have gone to see him themselves, no doubt, if they knew where his hidey place was.
Or no
My-
doubt
my
now that they
point
have
is
this
that-
information, they would do that themselves now.
Yeah, my point is that short of some obscenely powerful magic, I don't think there's any chance for us to find it.
But if once I get my scrolls, I can attempt a spell, and then that might reveal more.
Possibly.
So did we invite Rothgar to come to us in Half Hap? Is that what we're trying to engineer?
I think we did.
Yes.
Yes,
I think
but
the idea.
we
How
need
many
to make
soldiers are there?
we
He's
need
probably
to
going to
make-
come with hundreds of them.
we need to get our army ready, standing by, looking strong. We need to get a feast area to worthy of a Northman to have a drinking and singing and all the good stuff that they do. and have a couple days, and then we have to make the grand entrance of Finnick Longears. And after the king has become quite privy in front of everybody and comfortable, make the challenge. And then a challenge you can't resist because you'll lose all honor. And we'll have the area right there, and we'll have the dwarves standing by so that if his army decides to attack and try to kill us all because of disgrace, to keep it quiet that a rabbit killed their king, they're going to have more than just a party of adventurers to deal with.
Real quick, is there like no limits in a Norse 1v1?
Yeah, no limits.
I think it
Like I
depends
could
on
use
the individual ones.
like used abilities and stuff, it'd be fine.
They're going to use his barbarian rage and whatever against you. So
Well, considering the fact that you can send a champion to fight someone in your stead, I would say anything can go. Anything goes.
I don't.
So it's fine. I'll be able to use my like ranger bullshit on him.
Probably, but I don't think he'll let you get too far away from him.
I don't know.
Oh
I
no,
don't
I
think
plan on fighting him. I plan on fighting him in one-on-one combat, sword to shield, but using other stuff.
I'm sure he'll lay out the rules, like when it comes down to it.
I suppose depending on the rules, that would depend whether or not you send Eleanor out in your stead.
Yeah, because if I can bullshit it, then I'll like fight him.
It's also nice that I can just speak, because normally
Yeah, although if you're planning to send me out there thinking that I can activate my invulnerability and just trivialize the fight, I'm guessing that
I have
someone's powerful.
I have no doubt you'll have a magical weapon.
Oh, for sure, he has a magic sword. So just in case that's what you were thinking.
I'm just
Well, I
thinking
think
you have over 25 AC.
I think Moog has more AC than me. I think Sildarin does too, because they both use shields.
But what I'm thinking is he's not going. If we want honor to be what is the big thing here, he's not going to turn down a fight to a rabbit. And then, especially if the rabbit decides to be a female from Cormyria, a Cormyrian lord, his champion, then definitely that wouldn't. He would never turn that down. So that's
because he'll probably have his honor guard with him, or probably his closest like friends and allies, so that they'll bear witness as well.
yeah. He'll have whoever he brings. He could bring 200. Who knows how many traveling companions he has?
If I'm saying he's not going to leave his honor guard behind, so these are the people who like will go forth and tell everyone what happened.
Indeed.
Alright then, the plan is to lure him to Half-Hap along with the bulk of his war host, kill him,
And,
and then
yeah,
probably
challenge
kill
him.
his war host as well.
If after the challenge they don't accept the outrightness of it.
Right, I think it's a good plan. Let's go. Let's do it.
You don't like that plan. You want to stay here and butcher everyone.
I was keen on it, but the moment has passed. I'm no longer insistent on that sort of thing.
I don't know about to like start like put what is it, Sabaton songs on and just go to town.
I know it makes sense to have Lady Eleanor or Mo do it, but I really want to do this 1v1.
Yeah, that's fair enough. If you want to try it, then go for it.
I think that's going to make epic history and make songs of songs, and you'll be immortalized just from doing it.
Although, if Finnick does fall, like, at what point do we intervene? Because I'm sure that Hrothgar would execute him the moment he falls.
Yeah, it's to the death.
Yeah, do we try to intervene, or do you just let Finnick get executed?
I don't plan on going down, so I don't need to put my opinion in here.
Whatever the honor of
Fair enough.
I'm pretty sure that we would be
Nice.
in the melee rolling for initiative as soon as it was over anyway. However,
Sildarin with the how the turns have tabled spell.
All hell will break loose at that point.
Right. Plus,
It's funny that we're discussing this because we're the good guys, and we're wondering if the Vikings are going to take this laying down. You know.
plus,
I'm
I've got a
I'm
bit of
good, but
bullshit
I'm
up
not
my nose.
lawful.
I've got 3 potions of superior healing.
It's gonna take him a while to chunk through all the
My bad from the
HP.
rabbit.
I've got 3 health bars.
Although imagine the player's chagrin when Hrothgar pulls out a potion of his own.
Yeah, that'd be funny. Just
Hrothgar,
make the fight more epic.
Hrothgar pulls out like his level 20 wizard who casts invulnerability on him before this fight starts.
Pulls it out of his bag of holding.
Right. Anyway, I need to buy a +3 rapier at the town.
Wow, we're going all in just for this fight. Although your life does kind of depend on it, so it makes sense.
This is outstanding.
Well, I guess the question is the red wizard still at half hat?
The red wizard is still at half hat.
Cool, I want to buy loads of skulls.
Selling.
Yes.
Selling a +3 rapier.
I'm interested in a magic item too.
You are fortunate to catch me, for I will not be here for much longer. I have business elsewhere.
Oh.
Where are you beheaded?
Wherever the winds of Thay take me.
Half-Hap's going to become a prosperous town. You're going to be leaving at the wrong time.
3/4 of my sales have been to the individual standing in my room right now.
But you just got like nearly 6,000 gold for skulls, so that's something.
Exactly. So he's glad he stuck around. But if you're heading out, then he might as well head out as well.
Does anyone have the PDF or the text file that lists the
Oh, I have the PDF.
prices?
I can give them to you if you don't have it. Yeah. There's one in campaign info. Yeah, there it is.
What was
Alright.
the price for transfer of Mithron and stuff
Double.
again? Was it half?
Yeah, generally half. That's right. Yeah,
That-
trade goods like Mithril.
Yeah, I got that. I could just because I think it's better to spend just with raw gold because it's a cleaner like conversion.
Yeah.
I don't have raw gold.
I'm gonna spend
Unless
the
I can.
next. Also, I like the comical view of like the Raven Man with like 14 trying to hold 14 scrolls as he leaves.
Hmm.
Them in a box.
So what was the price again? So
So
the
the
price on there all doubled, right? Something.
Doubled that price. Yeah, doubled that.
Okay, I'll put them on my thing, but it'll take 2 days to like literally 41 hours to transcribe all these scrolls.
Yeah.
And that price
It's a lot of money.
included the price to transcribe them. That's everything already done.
How much money do we have?
22,000 gold and gold, but we still have gems, diamonds, the art, and a lot of other things.
Hmm. Since the wizard takes mithril and adamantine at half price, will they pay coin for that, or is it only strictly for magic items?
Yeah, he can produce gold if you'd rather have gold. Yeah.
I don't think
He
50 is good for gold. I think just hold on to it.
Yeah, I suppose so. It's a bit light on change.
Who's going to read Phoenix Entrance?
That full list of titles. That'd be,
Yes,
that'd be
exactly.
something.
Dude, that's freaking awesome.
Huh.
I'll do it for the meme, but I won't do it seriously in character.
We'll need to hire a bard.
Huh.
A strong.
I don't think that's actually what should be read out. I don't think that's actually my accomplishments.
Huh.
Good meme, but I don't think I should.
Did you not champion the Death Arena?
Oh, I definitely did that.
Did you, mighty lion of the infinite desert, emperor of the shifting sands, he who holds a scepter, great hawk of the heavens, arch sultan of it. So. What parts didn't you do?
Afraid to say none of it.
I
Huh.
say we just roll with it.
Gasp.
Right. So, do they have a dancing rapier?
Oh, can he get a dancing rapier? Yeah, he'll get you one of those. The takes you as a person of great style.
It's so much cheaper than a +3. I can't afford a +3. I'm just going to go with that instead.
Sure, dancing weapons are very good.
About 20,000. That's pretty good for a dancing sword. Well, 10,000 on that, doubled to 20,000.
Very good. Yeah, that's not terrible.
All right. I think I'm as ready as I'm going to be for this fight.
I'm just gonna buy a thing. Can just ground up the money for it. Four of each should do it. Okay, I'd like to purchase a amulet of health if they have one.
Oh yeah, that's the one that gives you +2 to con. Is that what it does?
It sets your con to 19.
Goodness gracious.
Right back.
They'll sell that.
So it would effectively give me an extra, a lot of hit points.
Like a vast number. Yeah, they will sell you that.
Rid myself of 4 mithril, 4 adamantine.
The Thayan eagerly takes your rare metals and it doesn't seem to bother giving up these powerful items in exchange.
See, what do I want to unattune to make room for the amulet?
Ha.
Go for the. I'll unattune the Ring of Evasion. For now. If we fight wizards again, I might want it. I might want that back, but we'll see.
Mo goes away to start making the preparations
Alright.
Right.
of the elite battlefield, and I mean not the battlefield, but for the mead hall and of something fit for a king to come visit out on the fields, and getting the food and everything ready, the drink for days of celebration.
Very good.
And gets the army ready. See how many we have left, or how many people we have, in musters, and makes them, getting them looking right, and mustering them and in formations and armored up and looking strong.
I'm back. Right. What is the plan?
How many do we have mustered so far?
How many soldiers has the dwarf gathered for you?
Mhm.
For starters, oh no, those 2,000 were. Yeah. Let me have a look. Servants and mercenaries. The militia. Of the militia, there's at least 10% are readily available, and if you wanted to call them up early, you could get all of them, with enough time. The men at arms are probably ready to go as well. So the men at arms, the engineers, the hammers aren't here, the flaming fist aren't here. Carnate aren't here. The Iron Vultures aren't here, but you can make contact with them yourself if you want. They are up very close to Rabidia, like in the shadow of Rabidia, basically. And the Bronze Arrows are further north as well. And they're actually going to meet us up there. We don't have to take them with us. So of those, yeah, we've got maybe 200 militia if you want to take them. Though they probably grumble about it because they don't think that they're being called up yet. The men at arms do less grumbling, or if they grumble, they'll do the job even though they're grumbling. The engineers are ready to go. So that gives us somewhere between yeah, about 400 odd soldiers of varying degrees of usefulness.
So start putting him in formidable formations and breaking him up into ranks and all that good stuff, and having the dwarves, form up in themselves in a tight, strong unit. All that stuff, just normal battle stuff to make it look as impressive as possible.
Our Warforged artisan questions whether forming up our engineers into battle formation is really such a good idea. He is quite protective of them and doesn't see them as soldiers as much as he sees them as important pieces of the machinery of war.
And he's building his like sand things at the moment, isn't he? It's like sand marines.
Yeah, I guess so. So he probably wants to use them.
It's just going to be using him for a short time. Have him back. We
He
don't
doesn't
plan on a war here.
doesn't interfere, but yeah, this is not how he foresaw them being used, and he makes that known.
Understood. We didn't understand. Things are happening faster than we can take account for.
All
We need
right,
to
are we
adjust
going?
the plan.
Are we going to? If we've got 200 inexperienced militia, 200 experienced men at arms who are useful in a variety of roles, can either be infantry or they can be skirmishers.
I just want them to look sharp. So,
Sure,
like out there when you're seeing an army lined up, you know what I mean? That's what
do.
I'm looking for more than
Straight backs.
actually breaking the war. I just want them to look sharp. So, however sharp we can get them to look in formation and
All right.
impressive.
The engineers will bring their blunderbusses, their muskets, whatever they've got. That'll add to the mystique. Yeah, great. So we've got almost
We
500
don't want to look
soldiers.
like we're forming it. We don't look like we're standing an army. We're just kind of more of a pass and
Raiding
review,
them.
right?
Yeah.
Like a pass and review for the king. Not
Yeah.
we're ready to stick him with it. So
Very
we're
good.
making him a feast, and I'm sure he'd want to. If he wants to make peace with the dwarves, then he might want to be talking to them. What about the government of Half Hap? What are they thinking of Gloriana and the barbarians saying this is now Half Hap is under their rule?
Ridiculous. Absolutely. Absolutely ridiculous. King of Destruction. His regime is going to be done within the year. How can a king who worships a god of destruction bring in a foreign bunch of raiders and call it a kingdom? This is an affront to what monarchy actually is.
There you go. I'm glad the dwarves are being dwarves. Then I tell them to get their militia ready, and because the king might not be happy with the way they be thinking about where things going. And I tell my cousin or my uncle our plan, and to tell him to have the people ready just in case things go south.
They'll be wearing their armor underneath their robes. So you can add another 200 soldiers approximately. They're not necessarily soldiers. They're veterans of combat, and the ones that haven't seen battle have been working in mines and other heavy industries for a long time. All right. So we've got our army ready. They're not intimidating. They're meant to be impressive instead. We've got our feast ready. It's all costing money. But how much do we want to spend? Like 1,000 gold on this?
Whatever would be necessary to look like we're really. I'm sure he'd have spies looking at it and
Sure.
saying he knowing an army's here, he's not going to just march looking in. So I'm sure making it look like we're here to welcome him, not to stab him
Yeah.
in the back.
You're not going to do a catering for a royal feast for less than 1,000, I imagine.
There you go.
All right. So someone want to take account of that 1,000?
I think we can remove it from the party. Well, yeah.
Sounds good. Yep, cool. So someone take that off. Yep.
So we assemble a mead hall, like the whole thing that you would expect a
Yep.
barbarians to want, for
It's
the king to have, and drinking, and everybody come visiting him, and conversations, and all that good
Well,
stuff.
that's an ambitious project to do in 10 days, and that's probably going to cost you another 1,000 gold pieces.
That's fine.
Yep. All right. So take off 2,000, but you get it done. And this is where, like, poor old artisan has to wipe an oily tear away because he watches his engineers manufacture a goddamn mead hall in 7 days, and that brings a tear to his eye. This is a fortified log wood palisade, and we're drinking beer in it. That's civilization. This is so
Now
dwarven.
we live in a society.
We live in a society. He is very happy. And it's a good workout for the men as well. It shows them that being in the army isn't just about fighting people. There's more to it than that. And a tremendous amount of camaraderie is built. But the king doesn't come. 10 days have passed, and he has not yet arrived.
Oh dear.
The food is beginning to
Get
spoil.
that lackey back here.
Well, we could be eating the food ourselves with the men and
Well, at
drinking,
what point do we do? Like, what if he comes after 12 days?
and then we have some more foods coming by. But
Can we send a
start
messenger
celebrating.
up to the town?
Shall,
Find out
shall,
what's happening.
and shall we spend 500 gold pieces as well to account for the new food?
Sure.
Fine.
Okay. All right. So a message to Rabbiton is
What's the
that was
barbarian's
the
name
Baron's
called?
idea. Gorman the Gelding.
No, the king, the leader one.
Oh, King Hrothgar.
Oh, we're gonna try and like scry his location or something.
He's a king. He'll come on
I
his
could-
time.
Could do commune. Ask my God whether he's on the way.
It doesn't
So
cost
the men
anything.
are
That was my
feasting.
plan.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna.
So
Sorry, go ahead.
we start feasting and drinking. So that looking like we're having a good feast in his name, and we'll wait and see how long it takes. But that's
If it's been 5 days, I've actually. Because, Flylos he probably disappeared, and you probably haven't seen him much for the past, like, the entire time the construction was happening. Because he's just been messing around and learning his magic. And I would like to, at some point, cast the Contact on the Plane ritual.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, yeah, that comes with an intelligence save.
All right. So on the 10th day, you cast this.
I'm good at these. I'll preempt it with a bless. And never mind, I can't because it lasts only a minute. So I'll cast it. Just the spell.
Hmm.
Big
Right.
number.
Big number.
5 questions.
Yeah. The first question to this entity would be: is the missing heir to King Azun in the Stonelands?
One moment. Are you a warlock?
I'm a rogue.
Right. Do you
I-
have a patron?
No, 'cause he's got a ritual caster, so he's basically budget wizard.
Ritual caster, budget wizard. Oh, so that's what you're doing here. Shit, that's pretty weird. That's pretty
Yeah,
weird.
I'm a rogue with 1 level of cleric and ritual caster feat, and
One
I
level
picked
of cleric. Who's your god?
Seamorph.
Seymour. Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah,
Contact
flightless is
other
weird.
players. All right. All right. Okay, cool. Please continue. The question was.
Is the missing heir to King Azun in the Stonelands?
No.
I mean, I've got 5 questions, so I've got a feeling the next one will also be no, but I'll ask it anyway. Is the missing heir to King Azun in a hold controlled by Vandergast?
There is no god who knows the location of the hidden.
Damn.
But we
Even
do
if
know where he is not.
yeah, 3 more questions.
The next one is a bit more. Does the missing heir, King Azun, face imminent danger?
How soon is now?
Yeah, I just had to hurry and modify that one, but never mind. Does King Hrothgar plan on meeting Finnick as per the request sent?
Inevitably.
And last one is Buzzer the Kenku slave still alive? It's the one I asked about a few sessions ago. The one that was a slave in Menzoberranzan before it fell.
Yes.
And that is the 5 questions.
Interesting info there.
Yeah, we avoided Kenku depression.
Yeah, although notably, I'm noticing here that unlike the commune spell, it doesn't specify here that the entity that you contact has to be truthful. At least I'm pretty sure it doesn't say that.
I mean, it doesn't say it, but it would be weird if it was a less reliable spell. Because it's a much higher level, isn't it?
It
I think they're
seems to have
both
been
the
written
same.
perfectly, purposefully enigmatic, or what I'm trying to say
Yeah,
is
because
the way it doesn't tell you who you contact, but which gives the DM the option of, maybe you contact your grandfather, or maybe you have no idea. Like, it seems to have been written with a fair bit of ambiguity.
yeah, because divination like this can break games. Because if it just said, ask 5 questions, the DM must answer truthfully no matter what, I could just say,
Right.
where's the king? Where's the missing heir? And then you
Yeah.
just tell me,
Commune
and the
does.
entire mystery is dead now.
But they've done that. They have done that, and they don't know. That's why, I guess, they don't know. Now we know why they don't know, because commune isn't working.
Yeah, it says divine beings aren't necessarily omniscient, so you might get unclear as an answer.
Yeah. So it's very powerful, And I think for important campaign questions, a DM just kind of has to be ready for those things. Yeah, there was a murder mystery, and these guys, well, like, what did the murderer's face look like? Like, describe his face. Did his face look like this? And I had to, pretend that they'd forgotten, because being dead means that you can't remember everything. And you just kind of have to pull that shit out sometimes.
I do remember in the Storm King's Thunder, it was like, who killed this guy? It's like the knowledge domain cleric and the divination wizard step forward. We just worked it all out from my bedroom. I was like, okay, now we know.
Perfect. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Found like one of the big bad guys at level 5 or something, and not supposed to encounter until 11:11.
Moog's
Anyway,
going through all the squires and seeing if there's any of value that could be the announcer for Lord Finnick.
yeah, sure. Make an insight check, or that you can have advantage because you've got that particular fighter ability. It works so well. In this.
I think at some point, he'll write it down all the answers to the first 4 questions and just pass them on to Eleanor.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's actually testing them.
Make it.
Insight check.
Yeah, make an insight check. Yeah. It's like, see if you pick up on the ones that are gonna see it through to the end, and that's a really good roll. Yeah, absolutely. You can pick out that they're pretty competent to begin with. The militia, not so much, but they're militia. What can you expect? If they were fighting here on their homelands, they'd probably be pretty good. When we take them away, we're going to want to give them something to fight for real damn fast. If they don't have a reason to want to keep fighting for us, then signing up to the army and your first job is walking across the desert for 10 days, then you're going to get sick of being in the army real quick. The men at arms, they'll do whatever you want. They're very capable, very competent men and women.
I'm looking for a lad, a young boy squire to be
excellent.
Squire and announcer. So I'm going to grill him and make him sweat when he's announcing soon. Pick out a bunch, and whoever can do it under pressure the best.
How about a halfling?
No, it has to be something of noble. I don't know. It's up to Finnick. Does he want a halfling as a squire to be his announcer, or does he want a
centaur?
More of a boy, like some kind of a young lad. That's what they use, is their young boys, squires. It's kind of a test of their manhood to see if they can announce themselves.
Absolutely.
If they're strong enough to, if they don't crack under pressure of trying to announce themselves in a hall of bloodthirsty barbarians. Kind of a test.
All right, so Moog brings this boy to you, Finnick. The boy's got strong lungs. He's a good-looking lad. He's got a self-confidence about him that hasn't been worn away by the years.
I think we found your announcer, your squire.
Good. Anyone will do.
There you go, lad. You know anyone. Don't mess it up.
While we're waiting for Hrothgar to decide to show up, I'll ask Sildarin, because Sildarin worships what god does Sildarin worship? I guess I'll ask him to his face.
What is that god's name?
Talos.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring it up. Do you worship
If you
Talos?
whisper, the DM can't hear you.
No. It's an elven deity. Airdrie.
I've been under the assumption it's Talos the entire campaign, so oof, I was
Same.
An elven. It's the elven god of storms. Not quite as malevolent as Talos, but probably equally chaotic.
Well, I'll bring up that while in combat, I've noticed that your skills and abilities are quite formidable. And it would seem you'll worship some sort of god of thunder, seeing as we'll be dealing with barbarians who worship similar deities. Would you mind if I asked you who you worship exactly?
Airdrie Fania.
Elvish. Although I can't say the name rings a bell.
I suspect there are not many priests in these parts.
And as the cleric of a god of storms and that sort of thing, how do you feel about Talos and his worshippers?
I stand for freedom above all else, one might say. Those who oppress others find we are at cross purposes. Hence my hatred for the Banites and the Zentarum. I have no time for totalitarian regimes.
Understandable and noble. We can count on you to stand by our side in this.
Yeah, most certainly. Well, most of the barbarians worship, another facet of the storm, if you will. Their conquering of these lands is not something that I would agree with.
Good. Good, then we are of like mind. We should prepare ourselves for their arrival, assuming they arrive anytime soon. My preparations will include oiling my armor, sharpening the blade of my halberd, and so on, making sure that I'm in peak condition.
Stormluck! Yells one of the dwarves, breaking Moog's concentration on whatever he's doing. Stormluck, where are you?
Aye.
Riders! Armored riders! 50 of them have been sighted, not 10 miles north of here.
All right. I guess the game beyond. Start the processions. Look lively. Muster the troops. Let's invite the king and have a feast.
You heard him! Everybody kick your asses into gear! Alright, so we've got a few minutes, 10 miles, probably, I'm not sure, 30 minutes maybe? How are we going to spend the, what are we going to do as we get ready? Does anyone, or are we just
I
waiting?
don't know. How would you set it up for a king's procession to come to your camp? Like that's, we'd be doing our normal business, and when the king comes, we stand and greet him and give him his hall, and
Like a,
you let him settle and
yep,
introduction, and welcome him and all that good stuff. So that's kind of all the stuff that we'd be preparing for.
alright.
I guess I'll find an important chair and
Yep.
get the dwarf's permissions to sit there so I can look important.
Absolutely.
Well, I think you should come in after the king has been settled, and we need to be
Okay.
announcing you.
Guess
you
I'll
not
just
be
find
here.
somewhere to get ready.
Yep.
I think we should be
adjust your
drinking
bow
for a
tie.
couple days before let's talk to the king before we set the trap. Let's do this right.
So as these
After
armored fellows, yep.
I'll have to rely on the lot of you to sort out the processions. I dare say if I am in Hrothgar's company for any length of time, I cannot say I'll be able to control myself. So I will keep my
We'll
distance.
be getting you drunk later. The meat hall is open and it's his, so there won't be anybody in there except for servants to whatever food or need that they might be needing. All that good stuff.
We're going to fraternize with the man for 2 days before we butcher him.
We'll fraternize him long enough. Let's talk to him first to see if he's even with the procession. I'll be the talker if you guys all have grudges.
You
Yeah.
certainly seem eager. Go right ahead.
Aye.
So the armored fellows arrive. Horsemen, they are. Their armor, however, is battered, dented, stripped Cormyrean. They wear the armor of a Cormyrean war unit, but it hasn't been kept in great condition, or at least it's several of the suits have taken strikes that simply couldn't be mended, haven't been mended. And so these are 40, there are not 50 of them, these 40 horsemen ride in, and they seem quite amazed by this procession. They ride in, and there's cheers and people waving, and the kids have come out, and there's a procession of hundreds of soldiers, and they slow down from a gallop to a canter to a trot, and they look a little bit bewildered as they wind their way up your alley towards your tables.
I was thinking it would be more of a camp outside the town.
Yeah, sure.
That they would just, like a camp for him to set up as his own, so he can feel safe.
But we've got like a corridor of soldiers, haven't we, or not?
Yeah, like a camp out, like a war camp with a meat hall outside of town. You know what I mean? Where he could set up his whole however he wants to feel fit and stocked, and we'll be drinking and celebrating, but our guys will be more of a line by the wall. Like seen amongst the town, like making the town seem hard. Not necessarily 300 guys with those spears right at the camp, but like making it look like Half is a hard target. And formidable, but giving him all the honors that's due, kind of a thing. So they wouldn't be going into the town as much as comfortably riding up to a meat hall and a camp around it, like kind of a lightly armored or a lightly manned camp, just for like logistics and more to do with the horses and all that kind of stuff.
Excellent. So they slow down, and as they do and take in the scene, the horseman at the front in his battered Cormyrean armor removes his helm, and his face is not clean shaven, but it's not bearded either. Rough shaven, perhaps. Likewise, his hair is quite short, but it's a rough bowl cut that was not done by any barber, but most likely by the sword. And he slows down until they reach the mead hall, and he dismounts, and as he does, his men do too, and maybe half of them are helmed and half are not. They take off these helms, and these guys look like Cormyreans.
Bizarre.
Iron vultures reporting for duty, sir.
There are guys.
You did not have to put on. You did not have to put on such a fanfare for us, sir. Are you expecting important visitors?
So these guys are the ones that we hired. So these are more.
That's right. Your coin. You might not have checked it, but your coin has paid for these guys. That's controversial because they are deserters and rapists. But we got someone else to take care of it, and they were very good value.
Looks like you'll be traveling long, lads.
Not so far, sir. Only we've come from Mount Rothrana, which is not far from Rabidia, where I understand your lordship was quite recently. He nods towards Long Ears.
What is the news?
The gelding, sir. He went east and did not return. Indeed, he went east the day that you left, and has not been seen since. Our eyewitnesses have placed him at Gundarak Hill, which is what I would have suspected. Those placements are several days old, and we do not know if he is on the move. He took your mithril, sir, and your full plate, and has distributed it among the Northmen.
Cringe. Rub my head.
What other news you have?
That we are at your disposal, sir. My family wishes only peace in this land. We have been turned away from Cormier. We admit that we have done wrong to our country, but we remain patriotic. And if you would give us a chance, my lord, he bows again to Finnick. If you would give us a chance again, my lord, then our families will be in service to you. We bring experience, not just of warfield experience, but we have spent 4 years living hard lives, using our skills to maintain ourselves without forge, without tanner, and without farmer. We have done pretty well. We will, whatever role that you have for us, my lord, whether it is on the front line that we might die a glorious death as the vanguard and redeem ourselves at last, or if you would like us to infiltrate across the most difficult terrain, my lord, send us into the Underdark, and we shall not say no, faring up our torches. But I ask only that in our deaths that you allow our people, our families, our wives, be they orc or human, to remain under your protection.
If you be fighting under a banner, your families have the protection that you be needing, as far as we can be given it. For yourselves, go report to the quartermaster and get yourselves taken care of. He'll get you fixed, your armor repaired, and place for you to stay. All I can offer you here is a drink and a welcome.
Can I shake your hand, sir?
Aye.
Any word of Rothgard, I'll ask?
Believed to still be on Gundarak Hill, Father. It is thought that he is gathering his forces. They have some 500 Sembian mercenaries equipped with the latest weaponry, explosives, my father.
Father, and I'll raise an eyebrow.
You are a holy man, are you not? Storm Priest?
Perhaps not as you might conceive of it.
I believe that we conceive of it with great clarity, Father. We are Cormyrians, and thus we address our priests paternally. But you are a storm priest. You are the alternative that has been sent by the storms. Not all storms serve Talos, the destroyer. There are noble storms. Does not the rain bring life to the desert wherein we live? Oh, yes. If you could be the storm master that the world has so desperately needs, then we would not fall to Talos so easily.
His honeyed words.
Well, you will not find the smell of honey when you are near me, my lord. They call me Carrion, Captain Carrion Craig. I am a disgrace, my lord, father. Sir. But I hope to redeem myself in your service.
Thank you for the information.
I shall report to the quartermaster immediately, he says, and departs.
Have yourself a drink and something to eat. Feed your men. There's plenty of food. And go home.
Men, sit, eat, drink. But he himself still goes to the quartermaster.
There you go.
Sure,
I
you're
think
aware
our
those
friend's been caught.
seem so.
So we should have sent challenge with him. Maybe it might have made him hasten down here rather than taking his sweet time.
You can always be sending a challenge.
Or the delay could be a power play to make you are now waiting on him.
So is he coming? He might be bringing a few men with him. I wouldn't be walking into this without a strong army at my back either.
I think that the beings of the outer plane seem to believe it is inevitable.
Inevitable could be a long time.
It could be a very long time.
But where is he? Like, where is the
Where it's Gundarak Hill. Yeah, cool. I'll see. I'm thinking on a different map to you, so.
I think we passed by it on the way down here, like ages ago.
We did. I don't recall what happened there, but do you? We came across a well, I think I'll go to the other map. We came to the blockade, right? Like there was a Sembian blockade, a bunch of grenadiers, and they didn't want us to pass down this road through the plague lands. I'm sure that they couldn't stop us, but we did go past that blockade,
Well,
didn't we?
we went past, but not
Yeah.
violently.
Yeah.
I remember we somehow persuaded them to let us through.
Cool. So the blockade
knife,
is right
right?
here. Probably.
He had a flaming knife, and someone said that they were nobility on Sunday or something.
Oh, did he have a flaming knife? I didn't recall. I didn't remember that. But yeah, that would make sense. He would be. It's not. Yeah, that. I didn't know that. But yeah,
Yeah, I
makes
remember
sense.
Flightless bluffed his way through, pretending to be a fire knife.
Very good. So that was right here, where the Moonsea Ride meets the North Ride. Gundarak Hill is just through Tilver's Gap. So there's here we are in Rabbiton, near the ruined city of Tilverton that we'll remember. Well, that's where Rabbiton was, whereas Half Hap is down here. So here we are down in Half Hap. I'll move the token down. So none of these maps are accurate. None of them agree with each other, but it doesn't matter. Here we are in Half Hap. The Gundarak Hill is here on the eastern side of Tilver's Gap. Now it's much further than that would indicate. So this map is just wrong, but they're all wrong. If we go back and check this one out, it's more like, yeah, twice that distance. So somewhere between 100 and 200 miles away. Not that far.
we should be sending a rider to him, asking to be accepted if he'd be giving us any time when he'd be showing up, so that we can make the perfect.
If we need
correct
speed, we can, Flightless could deliver the message. He can travel quickly.
I wouldn't allow you to go alone.
I would say anybody that can carry a message that we can trust. A normal rider would woo.
And so, what message are we considering? I challenge you to single combat to the death.
We're asking when you'd be showing up at Half Hap so we can honor you in an appropriate way.
Well, if we're not above asking deities, we can just ask again.
I don't think we can ask again without losing face.
Oh,
I
is that
think.
how it works?
Well, it's
Well, I
basically
could
you're begging him, please, you need to speak to me. Come to me. You're making me wait, and I don't. It's not good. It's not nice. I'd make it an insult, to be honest, if you want results. It's like, to the cowardly Hrothgar, I see you quake at my request at a feast, and that you and your men should feel shame to not, be honoured by my invite to feast. And then wrap it up with the second invite to restore his honour. Or go straight into the, because of this wrong, I challenge you. I challenge your hold.
I think Flyler should become a warlock now, and then get a daddy he can ask all of his questions to whenever he wants.
I think he's already weird enough.
Or knowledge mama, one of the two, whatever your preference.
Knowledge mama. Like a professor. Got glasses and a big ruler for when you're naughty.
Sugar mama. Or a daddy, whatever.
Alright. Back on track.
I guess, do we just wait around for him or what?
I think if we send a message, I think my one would be better received. I mean, by better received, I'd be more effective at getting him to do something.
Well, I mean, he's going to have to acknowledge this army down here one way or the other. And so...
It's just how quickly we want him to be down here.
Right, but we've got time. We're setting up this army, we're fitting, we're waiting for people, we're drilling, we're setting up stuff. So we're building stuff. So unless there's anything else...
I mean, I suppose it also depends on the power play we want to pull on him. Because, are we waiting for him? But if we send, the insult, now he has to come to address it.
I don't know. I think you should probably do something more of, his action or inaction will become an insult enough, and if he insults us, then you could drop the bomb on him officially.
But he's already in action, does he?
In posting messages of the Rabbits Challenge all over the land. I think that would get his attention one way or the other.
I suppose... Where is it? Yeah, I've got Phantom... and you don't have the description there yet. But it just travels very quickly.
Don't we have that chick on retainer that does scrying? Don't we have a bunch of people doing missions for us?
We've got the spy lady, but I don't know where she is.
Yeah, spy lady.
She's in Snakeville, I think.
Right. The Red Wizard will do scrying for you for money.
How much, I guess?
5th level spell, let's see, 25, 75, 175, 375, 750 gold pieces.
Discount for her favourite customers.
What have you got? Do you have any monster parts?
We do. Beholder eyes.
Beholder eyes? Why didn't you tell me you had beholder eyes?
Got Fey bunny fur.
Yes, yes. I would like to shave you.
I pass on that. Leave my fur for the 1v1.
Not even for 5 gold?
Alright, it's a beholder eyes. Yeah, alright. How many beholder eyes you got?
I have all the specific ones.
Like all of them, like 8 or 10 or whatever it is.
I have 8 of them, and the anti-magic eye.
He's very excited. He'll take that. He'll do a scrying for you if you give him your beholder eyes.
By the way, the Red
All
Wizard
my
here
beholder
has
eyes
had
for one wizard.
The Red Wizard here has had a gender swap since the last time we came.
Can't remember.
That doesn't seem like a very good deal.
You can always pay in cash.
We can afford 750 gold. I reckon those eyes are worth more than 750 gold.
Was it a female last time?
I'm searching for NPCs.
Was she Raquel? Raquel of the Frost and Flame? It must have been. She's the only female Red Wizard around here.
Plus I don't even have the money. They're in the warehouse. It's got a W beside it. I assume that means warehouse.
Well, she tells you that the going rate for Beholder Eyes are 100 gold pieces, so she thought it was a fair price. But never mind. If you're willing to pay with Mithril, we are still accepting Mithril.
I think we know where he is. Oh, wait. Do we not?
Scrying on what he's doing.
You might, yeah. We
Can
think
I-
we know where he is, but we're not sure.
Can I take my first money out of the party well and pay for that?
All right.
Yeah, go ahead. It's better than sitting around here uncertain as to what he's doing.
Cool. Let's see what Scry does.
I think. Oh yes, no. Squire might actually do something.
Okay. Copy and paste it. So it's see and hear a creature. Target makes a wisdom saving throw, which is modified. All right. Well, let's give him a wisdom saving throw to start with.
You better be a good wizard. I want a refund.
Ooh. Yeah. You're entitled to a refund if it doesn't work. Like yeah, that sounds like a Thayan policy. They guarantee quality. Okay, where is it? Come on, Hrothgar. Where are you?
Just
Like you
legendary
have to,
resistance, is it? It's just like, wait, what happened? I don't understand.
I feel like you have to dust the cobwebs off of that one. Like, didn't expect the character to come out this soon.
Yeah, something like
Probably get him out the wrapper. He's probably not been used that many times.
his mind is as a fortress. Never mind, I shall try again. His mind is impenetrable. She gets out a scroll. She's actually wasting money to get it done this time.
Barbarian making all their wisdom saves.
It is impossible. It is one to rule us all. The barbarian has good wisdom saves.
Arctic saves for his guys are freaking awesome.
She looks at you again. I have failed as the 5th level spell scroll disappears to dust. And she thinks that's coming out of my pay. She gives you your money back and asks you, perhaps you have somebody else that you might target who is near to him. He
Yes.
may have some protection.
Gorham something. I've got his actual name. I don't have his
Gormon?
surname. Warren the Gilding.
The eunuch.
Gildling. Gorman
was
the
Gorman.
Gilding. Gelding.
Yeah, Gorman the Gelding.
I guess
think that's
Flightless will repeat it in his own
This guy.
Gelding's voice. Gormon's voice.
He is named the Gelding? She asks.
Unfortunate nickname to say the least.
Maybe
Alright.
he's the bodyguard of maidens.
Alright, well, she's gonna burn like another spell slot or something. Maybe eat some spell leeches. It sucks these spell leeches down. 5 of them, gulp, 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 gets her mana
Yeah.
back. Alright, it's
His
worked.
mind is impenetrable.
He almost resisted, but she broke
Error
through.
404. Mind not detected.
Must be protected by the gods, quite clearly. Okay, so now I guess I got to read the rest of it. A failed save, an invisible sensor within 10 feet of the target, and she channels it through a crystal ball so that we can all see. You can hear and see as if you were there. Moves with the target, remaining 10 feet near it. Right. So you watch when he. Oh no! We watch when we'll find out if he really is a gelding or not. Oh, this is terrible. The creature that can see invisible objects senses the sensor. Okay. All right. So this is what we find. An invisible sensor. See and hear. Okay, good. Important. So he is in a tent with the king and a bunch of women who, don't really look like they want to be there, but certainly don't have the courage to do anything about it. They're dressed in chainmail, bikinis, and stuff. It's the tent has a fair bit of plunder. It looks like plunder because it's mismatched. There's chests of silks here and uh, sacks of wheat there and barrels of spears and it's just all sort of cramped in here in this large luxurious tent, a tent that is decked out better than probably any tavern room that you've ever been to, but its walls are made of fabric. And they are discussing things that don't seem particularly important, uh, talking about the quality of certain women and of the pitiful quality of the meals that they're having to put up with, and but they seem to get along pretty well. This Gorman with his King Hrothgar, and Gorman wanders out of the tent, and now you get a scope for what he sees. Anyone know what cycle of the moon it is?
No, we never.
No.
No,
It
it
might have
doesn't
been
make it.
full moon ages ago, but I haven't been keeping track of it.
Yeah,
I'm
I
keeping
think
track.
it's like the start of winter right now.
Start of winter. Cool. Well, that means it's a full moon. We'll call it the first day of winter, if that's what it is, and and the full moon comes out on the first day. Are we scrying during the day or during the night?
Hard to say. I guess it could be any
What time
time.
did the riders come up?
Day. Yeah.
So probably afternoon.
Yeah, probably afternoon. So yeah, that sort of makes sense. It's the logical time that he'd be meeting with the king is in the afternoon, and it's coming up towards mealtime now, and they're probably going to get, do their have the free time that officers are entitled to, royalty is entitled to. So he leaves the king to his own business, goes outside, and you get a scope of where they are, presumably Gundarak Hill. The hill itself is probably about 1,000 feet tall. It's relatively conical in that it slopes at more or less 45 degrees. A steep climb, but not one that you have to use your hands and feet for. It's tough on your legs. The grass would have probably been long, but it's been trampled down by the number of people who are here now, and that number is about 2,000. 500 of them are Sembians, and they stand out really distinctly to everyone else. They occupy kind of the middle of the hill. These Sembians are dressed in the most modern of armors, using the most modern of rapiers. They have crossbows, but they have grenades slung from their belts and breastplates. Um, and below them, there is a kind of it's a camp more than it is a barracks. There are women down there and dogs and chickens, but it's mostly men. And these are some of them are Dalelanders and Cormyrians, and a number of them seem to be Northmen. And most of them you can't tell whether they're Cormyrian or Dalelanders or Northmen. They all kind of look the same. And there's about 1,000 of them. And then back up on the top of the hill where you are, there's probably about 1,000 Norsemen as well. The biggest, most heavily tattooed, wealthiest are the ones who are getting the most respect. And it's just there's more than 2,000 troops in total, which is a huge army by most standards, but it pales in comparison to what we'll have assembled by the end of winter.
And we're like 600 right now. Did you say, including the half sort of militia?
Yeah, that's right, and they're not going to go up to through Tilva's Gap.
Oh yeah, we're not gonna.
No.
We're not gonna march our army right now. However, this might be the place. If he might not be coming to us, we could be coming to him. And we could bring 50 or so of our companions.
There's no fortifications here, save for ditches and wall. I mean, like palisades. I think where you got the wooden spikes pointing out over the ditch. Yeah, that's all they've got: ditches and palisades. It's pretty simple. And while they have a commanding presence over the lowlands all around them, that's only because they have horses. But they've got a lot of horses. They've probably got like 1,000 horses in total, and a vast number of horses out there, and so the most of the people aren't actually on the hill itself, but out in the plains beyond it. But it looks like they come back to the hill during the night. This is like the center. A town is kind of forming here, kind of, but mostly it's just people going out and looking after themselves, going fishing, going hunting, skinning, and doing the basic trading of uncivilized society.
Hmm.
So do we wait for him or do we go to him?
It doesn't appear like he's coming here. But the problem is his army's there, and if we kill him in front of his army, they don't respect it, and they descend upon us.
His army will fall apart. Do we wait to do it till springtime when we have our army? And we're the
No, we need
strongest?
our army to take out Tethima.
We need our army to do what we tell it to do. No sense on taking Teliamar when all of Half-Hap is going to be destroyed.
Do you think, Lady Eleanor, you want to go to the belly of the beast to challenge this guy?
Certainly.
Flightless?
Sorry, what was that?
We're gonna go to him, because he's not coming here.
Yeah, he thinks that might work.
Block?
How much
In
would
for a suicide run?
how much, like, if we were going to just bring a an emissary war camp, like, just what would be considered non-aggressive? 50 guys, 100 guys to come to such an event like that.
Let's turn to Sildarin as the expert on that. He knows all things storm and chaos, right? What's your opinion? How many?
Non-threatening.
Yeah.
Well, like a respectable war camp coming to.
But I guess
parlay
it's
with-
also pretty ballsy if we just turn up with no guards and just be like, you don't threaten us.
Yeah, like
Guess
we
they-
would show up and have meat and all that stuff.
I just turn up as like,
Guess
you
the
come
question-
undefended. It's like, you think we're undefended? Like, you couldn't stop us even if you wanted to.
I guess the question is, if the army didn't respect Hrothgar being defeated, could we realistically take out 2,000 people by ourselves?
We wouldn't have to. It's just, if we kill him and they're like, okay, we don't like you now, we just need to fight our way out, which I think is very possible.
Well, if
You've got
So
something
the
like
I mean, if
teleport.
we just show up by ourselves, I'm not sure why he would even meet with us. Like, we just ignore us. We're of no consequence.
so how many of our troops should we be taking?
Well, the downside is that whatever troops we take are probably, if we go there with the purpose of killing the king, are probably going to die. Feel pretty good that we can get ourselves out, but we're probably not getting 100 other people out with us.
If we go there just with
Guys
us
and
and it goes
hand-to-hand
dicey, we can always plane shift out of there and plane shift back in.
But if the king
Like
dies in
Soros.
hand-to-hand combat and it's honorable, then they'll be worried about their power shifting and struggles from there. They were not going to be worried about killing our war camp. And if our war camp falls,
I
we
wouldn't
fall.
stake the lives of your men on the honor of Talos worshipping barbarians. They may worry about who's going to be the new king after they've torn our men limb from limb, but probably not before.
Well, attacking our men is just going to make their tribes weaker. So why would they risk losing anybody when they need to be positioning in a sense of power?
I think they'll
Well, I'm-
probably look forward to the opportunity of killing something.
I'm all
And-
for. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, if there's only 50 or 100 of us, our soldiers are not going to kill that many of the 2,000 of them. That's all I need to worry about, not whatever soldiers we might drag along to their deaths with us.
That's
Yeah,
to be
I'm all
thinking.
for.
I don't know any army that loses its king that's built on that are going to be working as one unified machine against us. It's going to be chaos.
Oh, I agree. I think it'll just be a horde of chaos and madness, but I don't think that's going to stop them from killing everybody that's not a barbarian that's around them.
They will
Probably
try.
they'll kill each other as well.
I'm quite happy to just walk up to the front gate, make a declaration, a challenge, and if it's not taken seriously, we just fight our way in, kill everything.
What say ye to us postering around the rabbit challenge throughout the land, and we get him to come out of his hole and meet us here in Half Hat for a one-on-one combat?
Well, what
I
better
say we put
challenge could there be
propaganda
than liberating an entire town?
Hmm?
Think about the
I
message
say
that sends.
I say we go through the towns and we put propaganda up and get the printers to make the challenge and call the bards to spreading the word around the land, to have him telling about the rabbits challenge and the rabbits challenge this, and he'll get to his ears. And if he's got 2,000 riders around him, pretty soon the word of the rabbit challenge, he won't be able to hide it.
I think
and have to-
delivering the message in this roundabout way could be conceived as like cowardly on our behalf. I think it
Yeah, I
might be a
think
good
we have
idea just to just send it directly to him.
Challenge him directly, and if he doesn't do anything, then send the messages all around that he didn't accept the challenge.
I say then he'll be a laughing stock in Gloriana if he doesn't
Yeah,
meet
but
it.
but this way we get a direct answer faster.
Faster, we could sit here. What is faster? Faster to our
Well, as soon
death?
as he gets the message.
2,000 barbarians? I don't think we'd be able to be fighting out of 2,000 barbarians.
It's like, why do you think, like, well, at the very least, like, 8 people can stand around you. Like, it's not, like, 2,000 soldiers are not going to get an attack on you, and 2,000 soldiers, like, we're not going to walk into an empty field, and then it's going to be him and 2,000 men stood around him in a big block.
I get it. And why not come up with a war party? Because then they won't be attacking. If they're not going to be attacking like that, if everybody's going to be turning bloodthirsty as soon as the king dies,
But I'm saying it's not going to be us versus 2,000. There's going to be a lot of confusion, and we'll just slip out.
if you
Plus-
think that's going to be the plan,
Plus,
I say a lot of us bait the bear out of his cave.
plus, I feel like they aren't as disciplined as professional soldiers. Once they see the kind of carnage that the group of us can wreak, the amount of individuals that we can fell and how quickly we can kill them, I think their morale will break before we kill all 2,000 of them.
And also, we just need to get to any forest, pass without trace, we can disappear into the forest.
You not be thinking they might have some champions of their own.
I'm thinking that we're powerful
possible.
and trust our skills and expertise.
I just
Yeah.
want to see the rabbit kill the barbarian
Yeah.
king.
I think the fastest route to that would be a direct challenge, being like, pick your place, coward. You've hidden from mine, so I will come to you.
I feel like it's still something that could be brushed off as a joke. But if we were to take one of his towns and then say, that's your challenge, come face us, they take it
Aye.
more seriously.
Then aren't you more of an invading force rather than just one of his barons trying to take everything from him?
Well, it's kind of sending the message like, hey, like, we took a part of your realm easily, and we don't think that you're strong enough to be the leader of Gloriana.
But remember, as Moog said, like, he rules through fear. Like, if a rabbit can just stand out there and say, you're shit, you're a coward, come get me, and he goes, he's joking, that's going to put the idea on every one of his men's head that they can ignore him, that they can insult him, and that nothing will happen. And this is something he can't allow to happen. He has to respond in some way to your threat.
I say that puts us in a position of weakness if we walk up, however bold it is. But if we can bait him out to meet us somewhere for the challenge, we have time to send the bards through the town singing tales of the rabbit's challenge.
We haven't gave him the challenge
But
yet.
his response will be, "Come meet me at place of my choosing, if you are so brave." And then he will go to that place and wait, and then it'll be at the same response as if we challenged him directly.
If we're going to bring a small war party, as you insist, perhaps the vultures would be a good pick, because they're pretty experienced warriors, and their death would redeem them as well. Although, of course, that would also be throwing away a lot of our elite infantry, so it's up to you.
They're cavalry as well. They come with horses, so.
I say we bring enough to be formidable. I'll meet you halfway. Let's bring 200 men in a camp, and we'll just be stretching our legs.
All right, a force that large, like marching through his lands, I think you'd have to respect that, even if it's supposedly headed by a rabbit. So if we take, who are we going to take? The vultures. That's like 50, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Who makes up the other 150? Are we going to take 150 men at arms, 150 militia? Because I feel like I can, I'd work very well embedded in the Iron Vultures, because I also have a mount. I think I'd lead that unit quite well.
They would be honoured. Do we want good soldiers coming, untested soldiers, or a mixture of both?
We
We have
want
elite cavalry.
a good facing, so I guess we just want good soldiers for this one.
Alright, so bring 150 men at arms, 50 cavalry, the Iron Vultures, and away we go.
And I guess
Right.
if we did open
And
combat,
we bring all the
Flightless would probably join Eleanor
accoutrements.
in the cavalry with the Phantom Steed.
Oh, nice.
We bring all the accoutrements of the tents and all that stuff, and so we can make a war camp anywhere we want.
All right. Do we have any baggage trains, or are we just getting the men at arms to carry all that?
No baggage train. I mean, we're going to be having a tent too. Hopefully, we're not walking into. We can make camp and sit next to them first before we start, and talk to them before we start going to battle.
I guess for carrying things, we also now have floating disc.
Sure, that
I
doesn't
would
go
say,
astray.
like we have, we would have carts and beasts carrying it. Like
Okay. All right. Yep. All right. We'll assume that that's part of the logistics, that that sort of stuff's taken into account, and so they supply you with the carts and the wagons. It does mean that we do basically have a baggage train though, because the farmers have to drive the oxes, because but the farmers who do that could be militia as well.
Yeah.
So the militia, if you bring another extra 100 people along, then they can be the baggage train as well as getting a little bit of experience. Yeah, that would work,
We need
because
to
they
make
are farmers.
the Baron long years look legit.
All right. So it's a reasonably large army, bigger than the army of the Dales, of Dagger Dales. Finnick, could you roll a D100, please?
I suppose since baggage train, I guess I'll have Flightless like in one of the carts and looking through the eyes of his familiar, so you can get like literally a bird's eye view of the area as we're going along.
Excellent. And everyone who is still a resident of anywhere comes out of their house to seize the army marching north, and everyone wants to know, and everyone knows someone in the army anyway. So, Bill, where you going? Oh, it's classified, Larry. Can't tell you. Come on, Bill. Where are you going? Gundarak Hill. Oh, really? And so the first day that you spend in travel with you at the head of your army is an inspiring one, and the people come out and cheer. But at night, there are reports of ghosts among the war camp.
Ghosts.
Ghosts. You get woken up to learn that the undead are all around, or so the men think.
I think it's a job for me and Soldarin to investigate.
If like little volunteer to like follow along.
Yeah, Flightus' keen eye would likely come in handy as well.
There they are! The ghosts! Someone yells out.
You see a
And as
cross
you run-
burning in the distance, and you realize
Could be. As you run over to where the call has come from, they're pointing towards a humanoid figure, a kind of purplish fire that is the silhouette of a stick figure, silhouette of a human. And they are moving without any real discernible, not getting anywhere. They're just moving their arms and their legs around, but not actually going forward or back or up or down. Moving.
Weird.
Ghosts. Ghosts! What do we do?
Well, it's definitely something.
The undead!
How far away is
Spectres!
it?
Maybe a couple of 100 feet, maybe. You probably see it from, 200 feet or so, I'd say.
can I try an Arcana check with my sight of it?
Sure. Absolutely.
Very big number.
Are you familiar with the Archmage's trick of dancing lights?
Such a spell is beyond like is only accessible to like elements to himself.
Indeed. The dancing lights creates humanoid figures if you want it to.
I suppose Flightless looks worried and then confused. And then turns and I guess in not Eleanor's, Isabella's voice, because like it is a simple illusion.
An illusion? Well, somebody's
It's like a trick of
Trying to-
novices.
to lure people away from the group, no doubt.
I guess this is a distraction. Flightless turned his eyes to things other than that to try to see if he can see signs of like other hidden creatures in the area.
Make a perception check that doesn't involve sight.
Oh no, I don't. Actually, no, I do still have advantage because I have advantage on all checks if I don't move more than half my movement.
Very good.
Yeah, Flightless is just good. He could.
He sees everything.
Oof. 21. Actually, I'll
In
use
the
my
direction
inspiration.
towards... Yeah. Go ahead.
Might as well.
Slightly better.
Slightly better. In the direction of the ghost, you distinctly hear two sounds: grazing of grass and chewing of cud.
And what would cud be?
That's what cows chew. You know
Okay.
how cows are always chewing. That's
The
cud.
slow
They
figure
regurgitate
vote.
up from their guts. And they eat the grass. It goes into their belly. They spew it back up and chew it again.
I suppose slightly more pleasant than what rabbits do.
I don't know about rabbits actually. They don't. Yeah, they probably do the same thing.
The rabbits poo it out and then eat it again.
Oh, do they? Oh, there you go. I didn't know that. Oh,
That's why-
that's resourceful.
That's why when
That's
rabbits
gross,
get
you know.
diarrhea, it's not good for them. Because they can't eat it
Apparently
again.
not. She wants soup. All right, no, please.
Last
Yeah,
weird rabbit fact: you're not allowed to feed them lawn clippings. It's actually bad for them. They'll die if you do.
Everybody looks over at Finnick and just doesn't say anything.
But I guess he'll point in the direction and mimic the sounds of cows and other animals eating grass.
Strange. Well, it's no good to have that apparition floating about and scaring the men. If it is a trap, perhaps we should spring it.
We go forth to spring trap.
You go forth, and in the bright moonlight of the first day of winter, as a single snowflake falls across the moon, you see cows. Well, not actually cows, but Roth, which is like a cow, but not quite. It's kind of like a bison, really. But they're Underdark cows. There's a bunch of different varieties of Underdark cow, and evidently these ones seem to have some ability to manifest dancing lights. They have images glowing around them, little bulbs of light, and people that are engaged in strange positions, strange dances. When they see you coming, they spring on a little bit with all the dexterity of a gazelle or a mountain goat. They bounce. They jump a lot higher than mountain goats, actually. And they go and find some more grass and just keep chewing. But in the moonlight, with the dancing lights as well, you can still see them once you're a few hundred feet away from the fires of the camp anyway.
So somehow I don't think the men will believe, it's not ghosts, it's just magic cows.
It's magic cows.
Can do Roth, like, can they innately cast dancing lights?
Maybe make a nature check.
Try. Nice. I have no
No.
idea.
Well, no. You've never heard of a cow that was a sorcerer, so you think it's bullshit. No pun intended. Sildarin, maybe. The Underdark, weird and wacky place, and things evolve in weird and wacky ways down there. And the Roth are one of the most successful creatures of the Underdark, one of the most widespread, one of the most useful. And so, if anything is going to manifest some strange adaptations, then you wouldn't put it past Roth. Moog,
Nice. Well,
total bullshit. Cows that cast spells? No.
I guess
What are
we're
you
all
going to
having
say? Do they make their own chocolate milk?
As all just sitting there
These,
trying to
flightless.
figure out if
Yeah.
it's like, what do we know about these cows?
Ghost Roth, flightless. Ghost Roth are able to manifest dancing lights, and they also can cast the jump spell. So their jumping is literally magical. They're pretty nuts.
This probably actually makes more because he's from the Underdark, so he's probably experienced Gothroth before.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they're uncommon. They're a very rare type of Roth, very expensive, and generally they make bad pets because motherfuckers can cast the jump spell, and that really messes with your ability to strap a wagon to them.
I suppose if you
What do
do
you-
it right, you can ramp with your card.
Be
What
awesome.
do you want to do with these Roth?
yeah, or if
Not
it casts
so
the
much
jump
the-
spell and just you get a full-grown cow landing on top of you.
It's not so much the beasts; it's the passage to the Underdark.
It is. He's right. You know, they've come from somewhere, and when you do a little bit of searching around, sure enough, there's a cave opening here.
Worth making a note of this for the future in case we want to head down there.
And I guess
Aye.
with what is it? Drow sign language and thieves can't. Can I search around? Thieves can because I'm positive. Can he search around the local area to see if this is used by Drow?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, make a survival check. It's a full moon, so
Can I do
you just
investigation
help me.
instead?
Yeah. Go ahead. How'd you go?
21.
Yeah, that's great. And there doesn't seem to be any evidence that anyone has come out of this area recently, except for the Roth. So it's one of the many natural tunnels that opens up rather than any kind of patrolled access way. You can only guess where it leads to. Given that Ghost Roth have that jump ability, they could potentially, jump up cliffs like a mountain goat, but a mountain goat on steroids.
These both just, like,
Yeah.
won the lottery, like they're super cows and they're out of the most dangerous place on earth.
But they're going to go back in soon because they got sunlight sensitivity, so they're not going to want to be up here after the sun comes up.
But it's like, for Flightless is then, like, he's probably quite, because when he sees the entrance, he probably gets quite tense and pensive. Goes, like, carefully searching over for the signs he knows too well. But, like, probably visibly relaxing when he doesn't find any of them.
All right. Well, I guess that is where we will end it for the day with the head of our army on our way to Gundarak Hill, where we will be vastly outnumbered, but we're not intending to start a fight. We're simply intending to ask why he didn't show up to our birthday party.
And potentially fight him to the death.
Probably fight him to death. So that's what you
Roll
do with people.
initiative, and Arctic rolls 2,000 times.
Yeah, well, apparently. He doesn't fail wisdom saving throws, we found that out.
He is wise beyond his class. But
Oh, he's king.
this has been a fun session. So goodbye to the internet. Goodbye internet.
I just remembered one thing about the roads which I found funny. I remember we found one in Storm King's Thunder.
Yeah.
And to test them, I remember Prophet had one of them cast jump and then he counterspelled it. And I thought that was, I just remember that.
And it worked.
Yes.